Hello everyone and welcome to the Gamestars League Season 1 for Brawl Stars. I am Lethal. Joining me is the man of the moment, the one who holds my hand everywhere we go in this competition. It is Teddy, and we are in the international finals still with the playoffs, and we've got 8 teams remaining, and we're going to dwindle it down to 4 here, Teddy, and it's going to be some right exciting stuff.
Yeah, we have a couple of weeks behind us already. We started off the playoffs last week. Now we are down to the final 8. The best teams in the region competing, to move on to the semifinals and grand finals, which will all be played out tomorrow. But today it's quarterfinals time, so we got 4 insane matches ahead of us. It's only super strong teams, and I'm expecting some absolute heat and fire in those matches.
Yeah, some right slobber knockers from start to finish in the quarterfinals leading up to that grand final. And you're right, we've got the cream of the crop here, Teddy, as we're going to go through these matches and see who's going to be, well, literally it's going to be do and die now from here onwards. You know, no group stages, no double elimination bracket, anything like that, just a pure standard single elim, all best of 5 to the grand final. And we're going to see who's going to be crowned champion, as the quarterfinals will just be played today. Tomorrow will be the 2 semis and the grand finals. But have a little quick look and bit of a gander to see which matches will be being played. It's going to be Na'Vi versus Totem, Clash versus Zero Zone, SK Gaming versus Kozaki, and Big versus XO. So some big matches there. Some which may feel like can be a little bit predictable. Some which are going to be very, very close. And it's going to be exciting to see who will come out on top. And yeah, there's a lot of these teams well known. I'm sure, everyone's heard at least, 6 or 7 of these teams out of the 8 minimum from previous events in competitive Brawl Stars overall. And yeah, look forward to see who will come out on top. So the schedule for today will be Na'Vi versus Totem to start with, Clash versus Zero Zone straight afterwards, SK against Kozaki, and Big versus EXO to round out the night. And it's like we said before, it's going to be best of 5. It's going to be best of 5 throughout the entire course of the rest of this tournament. Just the quarterfinals will be played today, and we'll have the 2 semis and the grand final tomorrow. So we've got a lot to go through. It's been 5/6 weeks of competition, and now we've only got a couple of days left, just this weekend sadly, but it's been a great event nonetheless.
Yeah, and of course there is season 2 of Gamestars coming up. You can already register on the Gamestars website. Link is pretty much constantly coming in chat, so make sure you guys check it out if you want to have a chance at making it all the way until the playoffs here next season. It starts off by just registering for the qualifiers. A bit of a head-to-head. On the side of Na'Vi, it's MMA Russia, Jason, and BBGs. Right at the reply totem, you have Sori de Breza, Maurizio, and Maru. Full-on Russian team versus full-on Italian team. So a bit of a national matchup here against each other. Some of the prominent brawlers. Max being picked a lot on both sides, either BBGs with 17 picks, as well as Mari and Maru with 14 and 11 respectively. Those are the ones standing out the most. I think also Soy with 10 calls is quite impressive, not because 10 isn't the hugest amount ever, but because Carl has only been meta very recently since he was buff, so I think he played it a whole lot recently, and a bit of a head-to-head as well.
Yeah, we have seen a fair amount of Carl over the last week. You're, definitely on the money with that one. As no games we've not seen him at least once in one of these sets. It's going to be Mori versus BBGs. Just looking at some of the stats there, plus 78. Can't really complain with his stature there, and damage and star play we won't go too much into. But yeah, we've got a plus 11 for BBGs as well. And biggest talking point between these two teams is the fact that they've already played against each other back at stage 2 in the winners match. And Na'Vi did come out on top. They did win 3-0, but it wasn't like the most convincing 3-0. Like every single game could have gone either way. And, the series scoreline didn't really represent how that match actually occurred. So, and I don't think Totem were playing as well as they did the other day, where they were just flying through, and absolutely, I think they're the ones who actually upset Tea Drinkers, I believe. So the fact that they lost to Na'Vi 3-0 and then they beat Tea Drinkers, that was just absurd, and that was probably one of the biggest upsets of the final group stage. So we'll have to see if Totem can continue on. And I was saying it to you before, Teddy, as a joke. I was like, it's going to really, really annoy me if Totem did so well against Tea Drinkers, and then they just slip up again on Na'Vi. I was basically saying, surely you can't be that inconsistent in a matter of like a couple of days, but you know, this is what we're here to find out.
I mean, I can tell you from experience that Totem definitely can be. Totem, you know, for literally so long, I've been saying they can be top 3 in the world on their best days, and on the worst days, they don't stand a chance. And they're just that inconsistent. They have the talent they need, they have the skill they need to take down Na'Vi, but it's still going to be quite a challenge. Our bans for this match, 1 ban per team, it's going to be Jean from Na'Vi and the Stu from Totem, leaving Bell on the table, leaving Carl on the table as well. I'm expecting quite a bit of Carl actually, because Jean does pretty well against Carl, just because he can pull or knock him back with his gadget to get him out of the spin, as well as Stu, that is just amazing against Carl, can just, you know, chain super him and give him no chance to do anything. So yeah, with 2 strong counters for Carl banned, I'm expecting him to be played quite a bit, as well as Bell, of course, especially on open maps like Kaboom Canyon, Ring of Fire, Hard Rock Mine, Dry Season, and Bot Drop. All maps here, we're likely to see some Bell action actually. That is gonna be something, because Bell is not bad and she's really good on every single map.
Yeah, it'd be a bit weird if we didn't see any Bell. That would be a serious worry, unless they've got something up their sleeve. But yeah, let's be honest, you know, we're not going to go too off meta here. But yeah, some interesting maps and game modes to go with this, and some of these will go quite quickly. And we'll have to see if Na'Vi can do a repeat in terms of series scoreline. It did look very good, but Totem have looked much, much better. And I sometimes don't understand where inconsistency comes from with Totem. Maybe their style of play only suits against other teams, and like I said before, it didn't really establish what occurred in that last series. They took like most of them to game 3. They had some convincing victories themselves in some of the games, and I look forward to see if Totem can, you know, pull the finger out a little bit and actually be able to, you know, show what they're made of. And I'm just hoping that if they just don't fall a little bit flat compared to last time. But you know, if they could beat Tea Drinkers, and you know, by a certain degree, surely they can beat Na'Vi. You'd think so, but you know, anything can happen in Brawl Stars, especially with the map cycle as well in Gamestars. So that's what makes things a little bit worse for some of the more prepared teams. You know, some teams who are very, you know, rely on heavy preparation, it's pretty much out the window here because of the fact that they'll improvise with some of these maps. So that's why it adds a little bit of flavour. But I think some of these teams do probably get a little bit annoyed, of course, because well, I suppose they'll have an excuse if they had a losing team afterwards. But yeah, we'll see how it goes for Totem now. Hopefully it won't be a repeat of what we saw last time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if we've seen anything, we've seen Reply Totem in the playoffs. Just before the playoffs, actually, they on the same day they pretty much got swept by Tribe, and then they swept them like 2 hours later. You know what I mean? Like it's just that inconsistent, because you were saying like a couple of days. You know, there's no way they just fall off after a couple of days. Somehow there is a way, and they've done it on the same day. Like they've had like I still don't understand, you know, how you turn a 3-1 loss 2 hours later, same match, you win 3-0. It's like it's literally
true.
like a flip coin. It feels like a flip coin when you see Reply Totem playing. They definitely have what it takes, you know. They could be one of the best teams in Europe. But for that, they need just a bit more consistency, and this is going to be their chance to prove it to us. They lost against Na'Vi not too long ago. We'll see if this time around they're able to take the win, as right now we have pretty much what we expect with the Poco and the Crow on Maru. So the Crow does counter Poco. Is that enough to, you know, stop Poco, that is such a strong brawler at the moment? It could very much be. He is going to struggle a little bit against some of those brawlers that have a lot of health. And the thing is, the fact that he can heal up with his super and heal his team up is not even the worst for Soy de Breza, that is going to be looking to just chain his supers anyways. So he doesn't really mind, you know, having MMA that has a ton of HP, because that means more tags he can get to get more supers.
Yeah, we're going to see how things pan out for Na'Vi. They are behind, but just over 30% here. Jason, BBG's just going to keep them back. MMA's now rejoined the fray on the left lane. Mori does take down Jason, and Maru's almost get taken down as well, but it's going to be jumping in. Brazer's going to help him take down BBG's and still continuing to do a little bit more damage onto that safe as now the damage is starting to pile up. MMA just trying to stay alive here, but they've been on the back foot for the majority of this game. It's been a little bit surprising. They haven't really been showing much potential, been able to even slide a comeback here. Brazier does do a bit more damage onto the safe, left on 22%. So if they'll be able to take it here, this will be a convincing start for them. And Na'Vi just can't seem to get anything going. Does miss that super there with the Colette, and the BBGs are still going to try and continue pushing in. Time is running out, and Mori does take down BBGs in the process. Also takes down MMA and will get the extra damage onto the safe, with Brazier giving him a little helping hand there. Not what we expected from the get-go, but yeah, my word, what a start from Totem. Hopefully they will continue on from what happened the other day. I do remember what you said there about T-Drink, because I completely forgot the fact that they lost that first series. I even forgot on the same day, actually. That just shows how bad my damn memory is. But yeah, T-Drink is, I just completely forgot they actually already played each other beforehand. But yeah, okay, looking good so far. Doesn't seem like it could be a repeat just of yet, but that was a convincing first win.
I mean, it definitely was, 87% HP still left on their own save. Got this one to 0 quite quickly. I mean, there was a bit of an outcomp just because, Crow has some anti-heal, which against a Poco that can already be a bit underwhelming damage-wise. If his healing is also reduced by 40%, yeah, that's going to be a bit of a tough time. So smart pick. On the side of Totem, they were ready for this one. I also feel like overall the Poco, I like Poco on this map, I really do, but I do feel like with Bell being available, you might kind of want to go Byron instead, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing. Same comp from Totem though. Maru is going to fall to BBGs, but the trade is there from Maori, so taking quite a bit of damage as well, and that's going to be the super from MMA available. Maori standing in front, but he will be able to dodge. That one takes a little bit of damage from Jason. That does get tanked up, so he's going to be a nice target for Totem to try to take down. Oh, he barely survives that one. It was the anti-heal as well. He can't quite heal himself up as much as he wanted to. One tag from Mari, and they might be bouncing some shots off, but so far they're struggling to get middle control. Finally get it. And now it's a question of can they keep it and start dealing some damage.
Yeah, this is much better from Na'Vi. Totem have only just regained map control as MMA is taking down Mori. MMA just hiding behind that structure to see where Maru is going to go next. Here's the closest one on the front line, looking to jump in and make something happen. BBGs does take him, no. Mori takes down MMA in the process after that first engagement. Mori also took down BBG, so this is going to be his opportunity to tickle the safe just a tad here, taking it down by 4%. And Jason looking to push up here. MMA is going to also join him and play support whilst BBG's pushing on that right lane. Should take Maru out here, but actually didn't have enough shots off. And Maru does have a huge opening to now do a huge chunk of damage to that safe if he can. Maybe not a large amount, but enough to, make a little bit of difference. But Brazier also gets taken down by BBGs. BBG's now looking to continue on the push to that right lane, waiting for MMA to support him. But Mori does take down Jason. Mori's just, again, being a nice little hoover towards the side of Tome. Just clean up what's ever required, just always in position all the time, and that's exactly what you need to do and what you need to be, especially on a map like this. But Totem ahead by 32%. We'll have to see if they can continue this on, as Na'Vi looking a lot better compared to that last game.
Yeah, Soy is going to get some damage on safe. We'll get traded out, and we are left with a 1v1 on the other side of the map. This is going to be a challenge for Totem to come back with about 10 seconds left, and they will need some quick kills if they want to catch up. I don't know how possible that's going to be. The jump in from Maru picks up the kill. I don't think there's any time left, and that's going to be Na'Vi tying things up in this first set. Nice answer to what Totem threw at them. I still feel like overall, I think a big difference was that Maru wasn't able to find quite as much value on the Crow. Like in the previous game, especially because Poco was always a lot closer up to the other brawlers, he was able to just poison more of them, so have more anti-heal. Whereas on this one, Byron has the range that they can stay a bit more at a distance, and therefore he can't quite easily get like, you know, one shot to connect on 2 or 3 players at the same time, getting them all poisoned and having anti-heal on all of them. Especially since it's a very different mindset as well when you play Poco or Byron as a healer, because with Byron, you can absolutely go for shots on your opponents. I mean, one shot is going to deal as much damage as a bell shot. So you can absolutely just, you know, snipe someone off if your teammates have anti-heal on them, just so you make sure that, you know, you don't waste like 40% of your value from your shot. You can just go for damage instead of healing your teammate up or yourself. So you can absolutely do that. With Poco, a lot less, you know what I mean? Like, you can kind of only shoot at what's in range. If it's opponents, you're going to be tickling them. If it's your teammates, well, and they have anti-heal, you're just kind of wasting your ammo. So it's a lot more complicated to find value of your shots. Whereas with the Byron, it was just a lot better. And they're going to go for the same again on both sides. No big surprises there. A different mentality, and I guess Totem, you know, making that it was an execution problem rather than the whole overall comp and strategy not working out for them.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't switch brawlers, because I can understand that feeling in certain times on certain game types where, like, if you feel like you was about as much use as a chocolate teapot in one of the games, then you do get quite tempted to, you know, switch or try and make something else happen with another brawler. But, you know, like you said, it might have just been a matter of bad execution, and he reckons he can easily rectify that with, you know, no problem, which is understandable. So he just wants to see if he can give it a second go. So as we can see so far, Totem with the early advantage, just continuing on putting pressure onto Na'Vi's safe and mid-control for the majority of this game. And it seems like Na'Vi, they can't put the pressure on as of yet. Just waiting for, oh, never mind, I was going to say wait for Jason to get that first initial kill, but he's already managed to get it, so that's going to be a problem. MMA does get taken down by Mori, but Jason could clean him up if he hits his shots. He did miss the first 2, so it's not going to help him too much here. Now that that's 2 taken down, that's going to be room for the rest of the guys on Totem to inflict a lot of damage here. At least 20% was done after those first 2 kills on Na'Vi in that initial engagement. Mari's pushing quite deeply in. Doesn't really matter too much because he will regroup with the rest of the gang momentarily. Jason hiding behind that barricade to see if he can take down Brazier. Gets the first shot off, looking for one more, which he does manage to do. So Jason does take down Brazier. Maru gets one for himself as well, and Mori also takes down
7,600 damage off that jump.
That was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But look, there's 21% left, and that's it almost now. Totem looking very good, and Na'Vi have to make a miracle work at this point.
Man, 7,600 damage of one jump, and it was only the landing that did damage pretty much. Like, imagine if he was on top, you can do 15,000 damage with the jump. I did not even know that. Okay, I thought it was a lot less. Like, I thought it was like decent damage, but like potentially 15,000, that's built different. All right, 5% left. There's just no chance for catching up, is there? MMA low HP. This is going to be set number 1, going the way of Totem in a pretty convincing win. Honestly, like, you know, game 2 was a win for Na'Vi, but game 1 and 3 exactly was the same percentage win. You know, 13%, that is the initial Colette super, getting Rona down, that is 13%. So yeah, that's all they found here. Na'Vi, in 2 of the 3 games of the set, they could only get 1 Colette super down on the save, and that was it. That was it. And honestly, props to Totem for going for such a different comp here. I mean, they kept the same comp despite losing the previous game, which I think is like quite a statement, and they win it so convincingly as well, just showing that, yeah, we had maybe some execution problems here and there, but not enough to just chase us away from this comp. And that is some confidence that I think is really important at this stage of the competition, because you got to make sure that, you know, if you practice something and you believe it's the best strategy, sometimes you're going to choke a couple of shots and they can end up losing you a fight and therefore the game. And they were aware of what was going wrong in game 2, and they rectified it in game 3, and it wasn't the comp, which is, you know, kind of the easy assumption people tend to make and think like, okay, we lost, we got to change comps.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, it's like you were mentioning before, and I was just saying as well, like, you know, if you feel like you're as much use as a chocolate teapot in one of the games, if you understand fully exactly why you played bad and what you did bad in that brawl event, there's no reason to turn it around. Like if you were getting outranged or something like that, that's different. If it's poor execution, then that's just another story entirely. That's just you on your own, not the comp itself. But yeah, these teams are, so highly skilled. They do understand that, if a comp is, of the essence, is necessary, like required in some way, or if they do need to just stick with the same comp, stick with the approach, and just make changes to your own style of play. So Totem have already done better than their last series against Na'Vi, so that was pretty quick. 2-1 victory in that first set, so we'll be doing a little bit of hot zone now with Ring of Fire to see if Na'Vi can crawl their way back. And we said it a number of times before, Na'Vi have progressed massively over the last few weeks with a huge amount of changes to their gameplay overall, and you can see that, like I said before, some teams, they kind of increase their progress over time, like by in tiny amounts. But Na'Vi made a big difference in such a short amount of time. But they're probably the one of the teams where they make a big difference every few months rather than small changes or small differences every week or so. But we're going to see if Na'Vi can claw their way back, like I already mentioned, as BBG does get the first initial kill of the game. And saying that though, Maru does take down Jason whilst he was trying to hold onto the zone. So Na'Vi with an early lead, nothing really to claw by as of yet. MMA does get taken down on that right side. Maru was looking to push in a little bit further, not anymore as he's only on 800 HP with Brazier, trying to be very aggressive here to keep the rest of Na'Vi back.
Yeah, MMA going for the TP. Oh my god, Maru is gonna tank 3 shots. That's so much value, and he does go down. But look at the damage he's done. That could already be enough to just keep some control here for Totem, as Soy is starting to pop off as well, hitting that 3rd stage. MMA will be getting the kill, but he goes down. And things just look pretty alright for Totem so far. A nice snipe off from Maru as well, gonna get the super down. I love how the super just is exactly big enough to completely deny mid control on that bottom side of the map. Really strong super placement. There's no destruction either, so it's not like they can kind of like destroy the pods on the left side and make a bit of an easier way towards middle. And that's already Totem at almost 50% captured. MMA gonna be pushing forward. The snipe on both sides. Can they deal with him? They certainly will, and that's gonna be Totem just to keep getting some more percentages across the board. Soy is low HP, does get sniped off. Maru should be following up, but he's gonna get a couple more percentages up with his gadget. And things are looking good for Totem. They need some more, and Na'Vi are going for a retake, but it's only a 1v3. Jason is getting some good shots down, but he's gonna get frozen, and that's just gonna result in an easy kill. And look at that, Totem at 90% already. It's looking good for them.
Yeah, it's absolute madness today, isn't it, Teddy? Totem are looking pretty damn solid here. As now MMA and Jason in the zone, but that's not going to happen. As Maru's just going to walk straight in and collect the 1% he definitely deserved. That was just well played from Totem, just outslaying him, out damaging him, and just abusing the positional advantage. Sometimes they overextend just to keep him at bay on spawn. Why not? If you've got that kind of advantage, it don't matter really. So that looked a lot better, and I feel like we're seeing the Totem from yesterday. All I can say is thank God for that, because I would have been worried if it was the Totem from back on Monday or Tuesday or whenever last time we actually saw them last play against Na'Vi. I don't think it's anything to do with Na'Vi's play overall in terms of like how they've been progressing in this game or in this series. It's just however Totem feels on the day, like you've already pointed out a few times over the last few weeks. Totem do look like they're more on point with things. We're not seeing as many missed shots. Their mechanics are very good. I think the difference between what we've seen previously and what we're seeing now is just, the lack of hesitation from them and the fact that they are abusing any kind of advantage they get. And we didn't really see that enough of them before. And I think people underestimate how important speed is to, when you get that kind of opening or advantage, people underestimate how, the speed of it and actually be able to take advantage of some of those situations to actually think on your feet and be quick about it. Because even just waiting around for, 3 or 4 seconds until the rest of your teammates regroup up and then push, it's 5 minutes way too little too late. And everything you've done, all the pressure and all the damage you've done by then, it's meaningless. It's nonsense by then. It's just, all that work you did for it, there's absolutely no point. It's like building a house and knocking it down again. It's literally no point. You just wasted your time pretty much, and now you've got to do the same thing over and over again. So it's nice to see that Totem, when they do create an opening or an opportunity for themselves, they're actually taking it within a second flat rather than like a few seconds. Because that's the one of the big pointers here. Even Na'Vi said it themselves. Sometimes against Totem, every second is decisive, and it looks like it has been this time, but not for Na'Vi's sake. It's actually been for Totem's sake here, and it's not looking good for Na'Vi. And I'm a little bit worried for him here because Totem are pretty on form from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like overall Navi is the better team in general, what I mean? Just because they are more consistent. But on pump-off day, Totem is much better. So it's a bit of a complicated situation like that, where Totem, they are the ones that really need to perform in such a matchup. So far, they have been. And this is leading them to set point here and set number 2 already. Mari gonna go for the invade. He's gonna get TP'd on by MMA. Good gadget, but good gadget from Maru as well. It is gonna cost him his life anyways. TP from MMA picks up the kill, but he's gonna be low HP. The snipes from Mari not quite connecting, and that's gonna be a super in zone that just slows things down a little bit in favor of Na'Vi. But Maru is just looking to stick it to the zone, to be honest. He's just staying in there. And it is going to get traded out. Na'Vi was a very small lead, so it was a TP in. The nice jump as well, but BBG's, he is ready for it and just takes him down as soon as he lands.
Ooh, okay. Mori was on 524 HP. I thought BBG's was maybe looking to see if it can get him from behind in that left lane, but I think it was just out of range. Jason does take down Brazier though, so this is a chance for Na'Vi to engage with the guys on Totem if need be. 3v1 scenario. Brazier actually comes in from that left lane, but he's looking to go for the flank instead of support his teammate. He gets there a little bit too late, and BBG's has to try and kill him if he can. But Brazier, even though he gets away, he's only left on 224 HP, and Jason was trying to decide whether to try and corner Brazier off in that left lane or not. But Brazier still looking very good in that left lane, even though he probably made the wrong decision to flank with his teammate as he got there a little bit too late. He's now making up with it with the amount of support he's given to the rest of his teammate, being on that front line, tanking the damage, and also inflicting a lot himself on BBGs and Jason. But MMA still on that right lane, going back and forth to try and help out Jason with the zone. Still neck and neck here, Teddy, and literally we have to see if Totem can actually clean this setup, because it's looking pretty damn good considering the ups and downs they've had throughout this game.
Yeah, it certainly is. 77% capture. Your Totem are taking quite a wide lead, and with Jason and BBG's quite low HP, MMA falling down, this is falling apart. Maru doesn't even get sniped off, and Maru is just going to be there taking the last couple of percentages with Mari in the zone. Totem taking set number 2 already. Quite a story, and so far pretty one-sided one in favor of Totem as they pick up the second set, even more convincingly than Heist. Arguably, like, the thing in Heist is there were 2 games that were like only on the side of Totem, where they had like more than 80% left on their save. They did lose one, but here it was a bit closer in each individual game, but still very much in favor of Totem. So they are performing so far. They're showing us what they are made of and how they took down other teams like Tribe Gaming in the group stage. And honestly, I mean, Totem may be one of the most insane Brawl Stars revenge stories of the year, as they could potentially take down Na'Vi that won against them in the group stage, and they already took down Tribe that also won against them earlier. So it seems like Totem, if they just lose once against you, they're gonna beat you the match right after. That's the trend so far.
It's so ridiculous, but it's so good at the same time. Like, just how we saw these two against each other. Na'Vi actually cleaned this up nicely, 3-0, and now Totem are gonna do the exact same thing a week later. Don't get me wrong, I know the tea drinkers actually to be fair, the tea drinkers thing was actually even worse. Like, that was even more ridiculous. But yeah, I just feel like Totem may have actually fixed it. They may have, probably watched a lot of these VODs back and gone, well, maybe we are kind of waiting around a bit too much and being too patient and being too defensive and hesitating a bit too much. Because Na'Vi, when we used to watch them play in the past, they were very reactionary. As soon as they saw something which could comply with how, can give them a bigger advantage, they took it, extremely quickly within the first couple of seconds. But you see them now waiting around a little bit more than usual, and that's also going to affect their objective efficiency a lot worse than it used to back in the day. It just seems strange. It really does. I don't think it's actually even just Totem now, because I feel like Navi just playing a little bit scared sometimes and just a little bit worried on how to progress with some of the objectives. But we're going to play a bit of gem grab now. This is going to be Navi's last chance. I didn't even think I'd be saying this so early on. I thought this would be either back and forth or Navi should clean this one up. But a lot of us have predicted wrong here. Or maybe actually everyone's probably predicted Totem and I've just predicted Navi. Maybe I'm just a Navi fanboy. I'm not really too sure here. Hopefully Coach Org will give him a good telling off here, Teddy, and let him know that this is this is not a double elimination bracket. This is a straight up best of 5. If Navi lose here in set number 3, that's it. That's game over. You're done for the day and done for the entire event. You have to wait until season 2 where you can, start from strong beginnings again. But it will be Hard Rock Mine will be playing on next. And Navi will be scratching heads a little bit here. The worst bit is, it's just see, if you watch Navi play and see what they do, it's like I said before, they're just wasting a couple of extra seconds here and there when they've actually created these openings. And they're just not seem to be taking it by the horns like they used to. They're just playing way too patient. I don't know if they're too scared or they're not too sure about a lot of the scenarios they're putting themselves in. But it is a little bit weird, and they're not exactly getting out comped in any of these sets either. Like, we've seen a tiny difference, maybe like a 1 border comp difference here and there, like with the poker in the first set earlier on and a couple other bits. But that's literally about it. They can't just go, oh, we're getting counter comped. They're actually getting done in mechanically and fundamentally rather than anything else. And it just seems to be the fact that Totem are actually controlling the tempo now and the pace of the game. And before, it used to be Navi. They were the ones who dictated it.
Yeah, I think so too. They're a lot less proactive, just kind of reacting to whatever Totem is doing. But that's not necessarily bad. Some teams play like that and do just fine. But it does usually leave the advantage to your opponents that are the ones that take the decisions. You're just like reacting and replying to what they're telling you. But they're the ones initiating. They're the ones starting the fights and. Therefore also choosing what fights they want to take. And honestly, I think Navi are giving way too much freedom to Totem, and they can kind of just do whatever, and Totem is and Navi is not really like punishing the mistakes too much from Totem, just kind of like seeing what they do and then adapting to it instead of proactively thinking like, okay, what might they do, etc. It could be Navi overlooking Totem in this match and thinking, we swept them last time around, we don't really need to prepare too much for this one, and it backfires. That kind of stuff happens all the time, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be too surprised to see that happening here. It could absolutely be. At the same time, at this level of competition with so much prize pool on the line, I doubt that they just came here unprepared and just thought like, whatever, we're going to destroy them again. I think it's probably just a little bit more complicated than that, but so far, I mean, Totem was a very convincing affair. Now, when it comes down to Hard Rock Mine, I'm expecting some Bell mid again. I feel like that's the best option, especially with Jean being banned. I'm expecting some Carl on lane as well. Maybe some Surge again, as people seem to be playing just a lot of Surge lately. Maybe some Rico on lane, that could also be possible. I'm not so sure what else, to be honest. Not so sure what else. I feel like the other good brawlers on this map are kind of banned, or not really like. I guess is Max banned? I'm not so sure.
It was Jean and I'm trying to think for the other one from the top of my head. It was a common brawler, but I couldn't remember from the top of my head. I think it was Stu at the time. Yeah, it was Stu. Yeah. I can understand true. You're trying to keep your 100% prediction rate, and that's why you're not fully predicting. That's fine, Teddy. You can have your 100% prediction rate. Don't worry about it, mate.
What do you mean? Yeah. I'm not 100% predicting.
All right, 99. You can have the 1%.
all right.
Go straight into it now. As we can see now, if Totem can clean the series 3-0, which is a lot of people wouldn't have predicted. And just going back to what you were saying as this game's progressing, I'm hoping Navi did watch these games back. I'm sure they would have watched and seen that Reply Totem have been looking very strong over during the final group stage, because it was only a few days we had to watch really, and the fact that it's night and day how Totem are playing now, it's just absolutely balmy. And I think for Totem to defeat Tea Drinkers like they did beforehand, I think a lot of people in the competitive scene would have been talking about it if they watched and witnessed this match. So Totem now already up well, they were up 7-0, but it looks like now Na'Vi has taken down one of the players for those gems, trying to even the scoreline here. They know this is their last chances. MMA putting a lot of pressure on Brazier here, and Jason just making sure that Brazier can't push up on that left lane, as Maru and also the side of Mori tries to take down BBGs. BBGs actually does a good job and stays alive. It's very important for him to stay alive. He's got some really good map position there, positional advantage to take care of if he can. Takes down Brazier here, which is huge from BBGs, and this is going to make matters worse for Totem. But as I say that, Maru takes down MMA, Brazier trying to get in the fray ASAP, and BBGs just gets finished off by Brazier. So pretty much neck and neck here, 7 gems apiece.
Yeah, this has been quite a game so far. It's a close one, and man, BBGs has done so much damage on that Rico. It's just absolutely wild. But Soy is a great kill. Might find a dash towards Jason. Yup, he's gonna go for it. Can he find a kill? He will do just that, but he is gonna get taken out with all the gems. That's where things can get dangerous, especially if Mari doesn't hit the snipe. MMA with 29 HP doesn't go down, and that is huge here because Totem, they need the kill to be interrupted. And on a call, I mean, he does take 20% more damage right now because of the Bell Super, but it doesn't seem all that likely. And game number 1 of Gem Grab is going to be going the way of Na'Vi.
That was a little bit dodgy, I'm not going to lie. That was very, very close. And just the fact that MMA just saw those gems, I know a lot of players would rather just have a lot of discipline and go, well, let's try and find out exactly what's going on here. Where are they positioned? And just trying to be a bit aware of the scenario they're about to put themselves in. But MMA has just gone, oh, do you know what? I can't be arsed. I'm just going to go straight for it and just take the risk. And I think rightly so. There was only one of them left standing. So I think he didn't really needed to have too much thought process to push up on those gems, which, yeah, made perfect sense. You saw as well, Totem didn't really have too much pressure or panic in any way. They still relaxed and tried to regroup. It wasn't really quick enough, which was a little bit of a shame. And with that composition, they couldn't really push up any further anyway. MMA was already on the back line. He was, in a very comfortable position. I don't think he had to worry too much there. And yeah, it was neck and neck, was back and forth on the big talking points as well. And you already pointed out as well with the Ricos, the fact that BBG's had a massive positional advantage in that top left corner. Totem was so distracted by that left opponent every single time. And BBG's got some good kills off of the Rico, basically using, everything in his arsenal, especially weapons in his arsenal, just to make sure that he can get some of those kills, and abusing the ricochet on many different occasions, just abusing that map geometry. So yeah, very good stuff from him.
Yeah, he played really well that game. Definitely for what for me was the game-changing play to give that much control to Na'Vi. And the fact is, brawlers like Bell, they are so strong, but at the same time, once there is a bit too much cover, they can't do anything, right? Because they have no way of like opening things up and getting some sort of like, a quick dash towards there to kind of catch off guard their opponent, or any control tools. And look at Maru going for the invasion here, gonna pick up the kill. He's gonna be quite low HP, MMA taking him down to 200 HP. But somehow Maru just not quite going down, and actually he falls, but the gem is gonna fall on the side of Totem, so they can just pick it up. 5 already on Totem, and Na'Vi, they're gonna have to catch up soon, otherwise it's gonna be too late.
Maru just abusing the movement speed of Max. So good, and good prediction on the projectiles as well. He's trying to clean up BBGs if he can, which he does. Took him a little bit of time there, but again, so good. Just, that's just good initiative, game sense, and individual ability there. As Brazier still trying to take down MMA, both on almost similar HP, but MMA actually recovers slightly. Maru does clean him up. Maru's just been an absolute fiend right now. He's one of those people just been a real pain in the backside and just abusing that movement speed so well with that Max. And BBG's trying to get him to back off if he can. We know how well we did with Rico before, and just painting out some of the attacks. He wasted a lot of shots there, finally managed to finish him up, and Brazier looking to try and push in, but the gem count still in favor of Totem here, as now the players on Totem are trying to regroup, but Jason does get picked off, so they still haven't got that numbers advantage yet, and this is looking bad as well. Totem after 12 gems, and still Jason is trying to catch up with the rest of his team.
Yeah, I really like Maru going for the gems so that the countdown would just start like, 1 or 2 seconds earlier before the final gem spawns, so that Maru can sit on the tail 10 on Maori, sorry. That's going to be Totem at match point, though, as they are 1 win away from going to the semifinals. That would be top 4. Totem is always a team that you can't disregard, that if they're playing, you have to take into account that they could go all the way and take the whole thing home. But it's also a team where, you don't necessarily expect them to this consistently win the important matches against Na'Vi, against Tribe. This is huge. It is set point for Na'Vi as well. So they're 1 game away from, catching up a little bit, picking up their first set and closing the gap just a little bit. But we've had some really convincing games from Totem. This was one of them. So far, every game that was won by Totem was pretty convincing, if not very convincing. Every game that Na'Vi took was very close. So yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's looking really solid for Totem, and we have to keep in mind, we always talked about like the elimination matches and the decider matches having so much impact before. This is even bigger, because if you lose here, you're out. There's no other matches today. There's no second chances. There's no third matches, no deciders, no elimination. Every match is do or die. If you do, you're going to the semifinals. If you die, well, you're going to have to settle with top 8. And that is the reality of Na'Vi right now. They need to be really careful, because any mistakes will be their last.
Yeah, you have weekday Totem, and you've got weekend Totem, haven't you? This is the weekend version of them, looking very, very strong here. BBG's still dealing with Maru. Maru finally gets taken down. He's trying to be a bit of a cheeky bug on that right lane. Again, you're using that movement speed of Max, but doesn't really be able to do much here compared to what he did before. But saying that though, finally does take down BBG's. Jason MMA have to pull all the way back, and Totem once again with the map control and still with a 3-gem lead. It's Brazier still looking to pile the pressure on that left lane. MMA trying to see what he can do in order to force himself out of a bad situation. It is literally next to him, but it's still looking to try and push up on Mori, but tries to do some damage on the Brazier, but they've all been taken down again, Teddy. Once again, a team...
It's falling apart.
And they're just running out of... Yeah, exactly. Like, Na'Vi have just run out of ideas, and what they could do... This is their last chance here, Teddy. If they don't do anything now and do anything with this push, that's literally it. Is Maru's trying to stay alive, Brazier's just trying to push all the way back, and that's it, Teddy. That's going to be a 3-0 for Totem.
Oh my, Na'Vi is gonna be gutted about this one. They had such an impressive performance throughout the group stage and yesterday as well. Man, this is not yesterday, but yeah, they've had some amazing games, some amazing wins. Yeah, I'm just super surprised, to be honest. I'm super surprised. I did not see this one coming. I mean, we always say that Totem, you never know. If they show up to the server, they are going to be quite impressive to watch. But to this extent, sweeping a Tribe a couple of days ago, sweeping Na'Vi today, that's just really, really impressive. Really, really impressive. And if they can keep this consistency, we could be looking at one of the best teams in EMEA so far. They are showing some really, really good signs. I think it's just a matter of how consistent can they keep playing like that, because they've always been able to take down the top teams, but they are just getting more and more consistent at it, which is just so impressive, because that is their biggest problem as well. And it seems like they're just, dealing with it pretty well.
I really hope so, Telly. I really do. I hope that, they're going to be happy with this top 4 placement. They got their revenge. They got their 3-0 as well. And if they go from this level to a dumpster truck, the next match, it's going to be so, so disappointing, and they will be kicking themselves. But they should be fortunate. They should be happy that not only did they get 3-0 last time, but they actually 3-0'd them back this time round. 30 kill difference in the space of 3 sets. That just shows the slaying power. And I don't think it was only Totem playing well. It just seems that the players on Na'Vi were just a little bit unorganized, a little bit too passive, and they just weren't really gelling together as well as they did in the previous matchup. That's the first time we've seen Na'Vi quite inconsistent. They just didn't seem like themselves, like their confident selves, like we've seen with their performances in the past, where they were super aggressive and they didn't muck around, the reactionary players, and they just took everything by the horn. It was just a bit strange. But yeah, commiserations to Na'Vi. They are out. They will be finishing in the top 8 here at the international finals. But Reply Totem, after struggling in stage 2, they're now in the final 4. We'll see them in the semi-finals tomorrow, and we do have 3 more matches to go. Teddy, I'm excited. Teddy's of course excited nonetheless, and we will be seeing you in a few for the next series. But first, some highlights of that last series. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gamestars League for Brawl Stars. This is Season 1 and this is the International Finals, and we are going to go into our second quarterfinal game between AC Milan's Clash and Zero Zone. And Teddy, we know we don't really need to talk about these two teams too much, especially Clash, and considering how good they are and how great they've been in terms of recent form and preparation. But now we're going to see what more they can do here, see if they can meet Reply Totem in the semi-final. And they've had a high level of consistency. I think you've said it yourself, but you know, apart from SK, they are one of the most consistent teams bar none. And we've also got 2 more quarterfinal matches coming up later on for you guys at home. We've got SK Gaming versus Kozaki as well, and the Big versus EXO. Some great matches, some high level play all round throughout the EU and MENA region. And just let everyone know at home that this is Season 1. If you guys want to compete in Season 2, registration is now open. So if you want to go to brawlstars.gamestars.com, you can go over there and register your team and try and qualify through your national or your region. And then you can go from there and be one of these teams to potentially compete for some big money. So once you've done that, make sure you do that. And also, if you forget the website, which I've just said, which I don't blame you because I'll probably forget as well, we do have a direct link in the chat as well, which is posted every so often if you want to try and compete for Season 2. Right then, so the second quarterfinal between Clash and Zero Zone should be great nonetheless. We'll just have a look at some of the picks. Gene 15 times, Max 16 times, Ever for Jamie and Fed. But from what we've seen so far from Zero Zone, they've had quite a lot of inconsistencies here and there leading up to this moment. They looked very good back in stage 1, but obviously in stage 1 we had a huge mix of teams from all different tiers, so it's very hard to comprehend how they're going to follow on through. But Clash have looked like, definitely the much better team, improvising a lot on some of these maps.
Yeah, on paper, this is looking good for Clash. I think Zero Zone is one of the weaker teams of the bracket in the top 8. They're still, a threat, and they can definitely get some good results. But Clash is Clash. They are the second best team in the region. They have had such amazing results throughout the last couple of months, and I don't expect any less from them today and tomorrow. So I would honestly expect a trio sweep from Clash. I know that Zero Zone Spain can give them a run for their money, but I don't really see them going all the way and just taking them down in this match. It is almost a full-on Spanish match as well. I think 5 out of the 6 players are Spanish. Lena is the exception since he is from Switzerland. So that is something to keep in mind as well. It's teams that know each other well, that are local to each other, and are all friends and all play together many times. Our bans, guys, for this matchup are gonna be.
They're gonna come now.
We'll find out. Here we go. Bans, singular is gonna be Stu on both sides. That is an interesting one. I mean, I think this is a lost opportunity from Zero Zone, because we know that Clash, they always ban Stu. They've always banned Stu in the best of 1. Was 1 ban, and if there's 2 bans, they ban Stu and Jesse. So they're quite predictable regarding that, and it's already a bit worrying that Zero Zone did not expect it, because as a caster, if I know it, they probably shoot as pro players, and I don't know, maybe they're perfectly fine playing with all the other brawlers, but I do feel like, especially against AQM, there are some good targeted bans, the Mortis, or even, anything else, because they knew that it would be a Stu ban. Anyways, split in Hot Zone, Hard Rock Mine in Gem Grab, GG Mortuary in Heist, and if it comes down to it, Quick Skip in Bounty and Bot Drop for Siege. Those are going to be your 5 maps and game modes played out throughout this match. And would you look at that, what an interesting comp here from AQM, going for the Carl, Colt, and Surge. Definitely something quite different. We'll see how that works out. So far, they do have a bit of a lead. He might struggle a bit against the BB, but the BB takes him down indeed. Brewy was a nice kill, not quite low HP, but he's still able to get so many percentages on the right-hand side. He looking for some tags onto Brewy. Not going to be the easiest matchup, just because it's hard to hit the BB consistently, just because it runs so fast as a Carl. And then as a Carl as well, if you super, they can take you out, or just, phase you out of it with a nice knockback. Obviously, once the BB uses that, the opportunity is gone. But look, percentage-wise, this is not bad from Zero Zone. Oh, Chaos was a nice jump, but the bubble returns and takes him out. Brewy was a great kill. I think this is looking like a first game in favor of Zero Zone.
Yeah, a little bit of a shocker here, as it's been a commanding lead for Zero Zone. That was a lot better than we expected. It's not the opener we expected. And yeah, not really too much to digest. I think they're probably a little bit shocked with the comms compared to we were, especially if you was as well. With the Poco, we didn't really see too much from them. You can see like overextend a little bit to try and get his heal, so he can actually heal the rest of his teammates. But he wasn't really, with his teammates that much either. I kind of just felt like they were outnumbered on a number of occasions. And even then, though, it was a little bit of a struggle for Clash overall. So that was very, very quick. Not really too much to digest, or, to be fair, anything to dissect there. It was only about a minute game, if that. And we'll have to see how Clash are going to turn tables, because that, when you see something like that, normally you would expect them to, change comps in some way. And it wasn't like anything huge or anything that's mammoth, which could have changed things, like in terms of comp change or, fundamentals, anything like that. So I want to see what Clash can do here to at least try and turn the tide, because that was a very quick game for Zero Zone, considering, we expect Clash to be heavy favourites going into the series.
Yeah, I think so too. It's definitely interesting, to see them playing like that, really strong. I mean, Clash, their weaker mode is gonna be Hot Zone, right? Kicking things off on your weaker mode is not always the best way, just because you give a bit of free momentum to your opponents, but it's definitely better than having it on a decider, set or something like that. So I think the slow start is to be expected here from Clash, just because Hot Zone is not the easiest for them. They're better at some more of the clutch game modes rather than the consistent control modes like this is going to be on Hot Zone. So I wouldn't even be surprised to see Zero Zone just taking this set 2-0, but I would be surprised to see them do a lot more damage in some other sets.
It looks like Clash has gone with a Poco now as well as the Sprouts. So have to see if it can make any kind of difference. Pretty much a mirror matchup apart from the M's and the Sprouts. Chaos still trying to do a bit of damage onto Freddy there, but still Freddy's still got control of that left zone. So looking okay so far as Jamie and Gil are just doing a bit of a ring around the rosy on that right zone with both Pocos. They have backed away. They both do have to heal as well if need be. As Gil now pushing into that right zone. Chaos is now alongside with him. Good teamwork from them both. And Lene's not doing a huge amount, but he's just trying to do a bit of damage in this 1v2 scenario. Jamie does eventually clean him up, and Gil just trying to push on up onto Freddy here. And Freddy does take down Gil as well, which means Chaos is all left on his Larry in that right zone, with Lene now looking to push up and see if he can give it a helping hand, which he does a little bit of damage to help them get the trade. But now you can see Zero Zone still up by 11% here, Teddy.
Yeah, that's definitely impressive. Can they keep that up until the end? It's not looking too bad, as Guy is going to be falling and they have control of the right-hand side. They need a strong retake here. The wall from Chaos coming in is going to block them off. That's a great setup for Lena, but look at that. It gets absolutely melted down. A bit of a missed bubble as well. This is looking more and more like the set is going to go the way of Zero Zone. Not much that Clash can do at this point. Ruby is low HP. He is going to fall. Fede is still there, though. He will fall, but 4%? I don't know, man. I don't really see them holding on to this one all that well. The wall is going to be helping, but is it going to be enough?
Yeah, make it easy, just stack one side at some point if need be, depending on the circumstances. Freddy takes down Gil, which is going to definitely make matters even worse as Jamie and Freddy on that left zone still, but looking to try and take out Chaos as well if they can. But Freddy does take out Lenane as he was pushing forward. Gil gets to trade, and Ruby does take down Gil straight afterwards. Still, 2v1 scenario here, because Lenane's going to push all the way up on that left side as Freddy's looking to try and rejoin the fray with all three of them in that left zone. Do you feel like there's a possibility they're just trying to run the clock out here, Teddy?
I think they'd rather run the clock than, just take the loss. But they are struggling a little bit, and there's more control coming through. Akeos has his next super ready, and that just wasted a lot of time from Ruby, as you could see. Now, Clash, they are coming back. They're only about 10% behind. This is a really important kill, as Guy is going to be struggling, but it's only 7%. A great kill from Akeos, but they need to take care of Fede. The wall comes through. That could be huge. But look at the time. It's going to be a struggle. Nevertheless, Lenan taking a lot of damage. Is he going down? Guy in the zone? Oh my god! It's all tied up, and Clash, they are going to steal this one away. That is absolutely insane. Now, overall, it was a better game on the side of Zero Zone. They were the ones in control and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that Clash just clutched this one up with a 2% difference, being down like 40% at some point, that's absolutely huge for them, because we said it earlier, it's not like this is their favorite game mode, far from there.
Can't believe it. It's very, very rare you see a comeback on that map and by such a small margin as well. Like, I didn't really expect it from them. I kind of feel like Zero Zone, where, they didn't want to try and go for both zones. They just wanted to try and waste time, like, until the match is over, which I can see their point, but at some stage, Clash they were actually able to flank rounds. I wasn't too sure how quickly they were going to be able to do it, but still, even when he flanked around with that Sprout, he did so much in that right zone. Damage from the right, even barricaded as well, just to, annoy Zero Zone just a little bit more. And it was just really well coordinated and really well played, because in that kind of scenario you put yourself in, it's hard to make the assumption that you're going to be falling back on a loss. And the predictions they made and put yourselves in terms of this, because when you're in that kind of boat, it's very situational. They still managed to push it and managed to clean things up nicely. I'm very, very surprised. Zero Zone will be kicking themselves after it's a game they potentially should have won one way or another. They had a huge advantage. They had, not really much time left to work with. They knew that if they just kept them back for another half a minute, it should be okay. But yeah, it wasn't going to be enough here. So Zero Zone will be tying things up with Clash now. Clash looking to maybe even take this first set. Definitely momentum swinging in their favor.
Yeah, it's really big for them, to be honest. I did not really see this one coming. And now suddenly you have to keep in mind that Zero Zone, this was their golden ticket to secure the first set and at least, have a bit of an advantage, make sure that they don't get swept and try to build from there. Now suddenly that's all going to be questioned as Clash. I mean, they tied things up, and look at that. This is a bit of a traditional comp from Clash on this map. Not easy to pull off. But if Guille can get his super, he's going to open up the map, and then suddenly the Poco double tank is just going to be insane to play. Bruby and who was it else? I'm not so sure. I think it was Lena on the BB. They trade each other out. Chaos is low HP. He's going to fall. I find it curious that he decided not to use his super, but a nice roll is going to keep Lena off that zone. And Guille, I mean, does get countered by BB, but can still find some value. The stun coming through onto Hamey, just gonna be changing the map a little bit. Nice stun onto Broby. He is such a good Frank.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I wasn't too sure if it was Zero Zone just not playing that well against his Frank, or yeah, that was unbelievable. I was expecting him to lose that eventually. Maybe if he'll take one of the players down, which he did, but I didn't think he would take down Ruby as well. So Lenane trying to help out again in that left lane, still managed to actually get some of that left zone with a 29% advantage. And you're right, Gil's so good with that Frank. It's one of those, I suppose it is one of those picks where it's easy to use but hard to master. I think that's what you were trying to get at earlier, and I can understand that completely. This is literally a 9-day stance compared to what we saw in that last game, compared to what we saw previously in this matchup. And Clash in a lot easier than we thought from start to finish, and it's great to see Clash come back. This is what we expected from Clash, not some messy pushes here and there with a little bit of chaos. It was a lot more range. I think Gil with that Frank in that 1v2 was the game changer. I think that's when the momentum shifted in the favor of Clash, and they've just gone, well, we should have had that. That was definitely a client we should have dealt with. Even if one of us got taken down, that trade should have happened, but it didn't. So great stuff from Clash again to revitalize their morale and be able to take that first set.
Yeah, and I honestly think it's especially a big hit on Zero Zone's morale. Like, they played so well in that first game, even the second one, and then suddenly they got put in such a tough spot. Like, look at that comeback, 96% to like 50, and somehow Clash, they just comfortably come back like it's nothing, and they were able to secure that game that just really changed things around, removing any sort of like momentum that Zero Zone were building up, just stopping them in their tracks. And I'm really, really impressed, man. I'm really, really impressed. It's a bit heartbreaking for Zero Zone, because this means so much to them, right? To make it through to the playoffs in the first place, to the top 8, having a chance here to go to the quarters and having the best start possible for it. And then Clash, they're like, all right, well, this was fun, but we kind of got to, as we're looking to go to those semifinals. So it could be a war start, to be honest, on the side of Zero Zone. Like, they did take a game, but it was one of the weaker games of Clash, and Zero Zone were 3% away from taking that set, and yet they don't have it in their pocket.
Awful human beings, Clash. Awful, awful, awful. Giving your opponents false hope that you think they're going to win that set. Unbelievable. But Are they going to give away more false hope? If they did, then I think Zero Zone are just going to be scratching their thinking this is just getting beyond the joke now. But Clash did come back from that. It is, that map is very difficult. Probably one of the hardest come back from that on Hot Zone in a competitive map pool from that aspect, not obviously in every single map. But you can see Zero Zone are pretty pissed about what happened in that last set. So outslaying them pretty hard here to begin with, and Zero Zone need to just remember that they outslayed their opponents in that last set. So it wasn't like, it was one-sided in any way. They did such a good job in those first couple of games, but just obviously in the second game, things just got a little bit out of hand for them, and they just got a little bit unorganized. So looking to see how things are going to match up or occur in this game. Not really too much of an indication as of yet. We're just seeing Linane and Gil just pushing up onto their spawn like it's their day job. Linane managed to take down Jamie as Freddy's now pushing down south. Very, very aggressive here. I don't think he's going to be too pleased about that. I don't think he expected to be in the middle of all three members of Clash, considering the circumstance and the position they put themselves in. So the numbers advantage do go in favour of Clash unless the players on Zero Zone regroup, which they do. Freddy is going to dive straight in. Chaos does take down Ruby straight away. Freddy's left on 580 HP. Gets cleaned up. Jamie just chilling behind the crate, knows there's nothing more he can do in the 1v3. And a nice, clean first game in the second set from Clash.
Yeah, nice comeback once more, Like, this is just gonna be hard on the morale from Zero Zone Spain. Multiple games where it just seems like they get them, and then suddenly Clash with a bit of a pop-off play, open things up, and manage to come back. And the consistency at which Clash does that is why they are such a problem for any team to deal with. Like, they can clutch up like it's nothing. It's just so impressive.
Makes you sick.
Yeah, they can be behind, and then suddenly they're like, oh, let's start winning now, and we focus up a bit. And that's the thing with Clash as well. They're such a highly mechanical team. They are such good individual players. Where they struggle a bit more is the team play. But when they pick things up, like at some point they will, right? In a game,
yeah.
Even if they are struggling a little bit, at some point they will manage to play a bit better together, and then suddenly they're unstoppable. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, Linane, I think, is really, really good. It's definitely one of the best individual players that I've seen so far. Not saying he's number one, of course, in the region, but definitely way, way up there with all the bits and pieces he actually does. From a standpoint, just knows exactly when to push, exactly when it's unsafe. As soon as he gets a huge percentile to his name, he just takes that advantage straight away without hesitation. Such a good player, and we'll have to see if he'll continue that on. As now Freddy on that left lane trying to put a little bit of pressure on the name. Speak of the devil, as Bruby's going to try and add a little bit more damage onto him. But Freddy just again trying to use that movement speed from the max to collect some of these gems and go back into the left lane. It's just trying to be here, there, and everywhere. He's trying to show that he's playing support in numerous different ways. But Gil and Linane were normally the ones, the aggressors, to push up on some of these flanks, but they haven't had an opening yet. They're just trying to hold this middle ground. Zero Zone have had a slight majority of the map possession, but Freddy's been kept up the gems using that movement speed again. But this is going to be the perfect opportunity now as Gil found that opening, and now Linane's looking for blood here. He wanted to push up, but knows but Freddy's still in that left lane with the max, waiting, just daring for him to push on up here, Teddy.
Yeah, Fede taking quite a bit of damage. Gonna get pulled here by Linane. That's gonna be the countdown for Clash. Dash in from Bruby, gets a nice shot off on Chaos, but he's not able to close it out. Linane with the kill on Hamey as well. It's only Fede left alive, and that can pretty much do anything in those next 5 seconds. This is gonna be Clash picking up this second set. 2-0 sets now, and Zero Zone starting to be in real danger.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. All three of these players on Clash are really, really good individually, really hot on their motives and what they want to get done. And I just feel like they're one of those teams that just literally just have a plan for everything, which is brilliant. They're always on the same page all the time. And I'm not surprised where teams like them and SK Gaming pretty much treat some of these teams like it's a stomping ground. Like Zero Zone are now, looking on the back end here, literally in the series scoreline at 2-0. Could see another clean sweep in this matchup. This is a clean sweep we would expect from these two juggernauts, but between Na'Vi versus Tone, we didn't expect that at all. We thought that was going to be a 5-setter, maybe a 4-setter, depending on how both teams are feeling on the day. But this is what we expected from Clash, and it's great to see that individually as well as their timings as in terms of their coordination just looks so good. And look at the difference as well. Like Zero Zone may have outslayed Clash by only a couple kills in that first set, but a massive detriment, a massive impact compared to before. 15 kills to the 5 of Zero Zone and an extra 24,000 damage to Clash's map presence there. And you got to remember, that's like 5 kills in the space of like, around 5 minutes. It's hardly anything really when you think about like a kill a minute. It's pretty balmy when you think about it. We're going to GG Mortuary to see what they can do here, and I'm interested to see how Clash actually progress to the save on this matchup, especially on this map in particular, because it can be a little bit fiddly sometimes. Some of the parts they go to can be quite narrow, but this is where, the side of Zero Zone, they have to be very aware of their surroundings and what could happen, because as soon as Milan see even have a sniff or like an opening somehow, some way on this matchup, then it's pretty much said and done, and Milan are going to take this 3-0.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you just can't give them, right? You can't give them this many opportunities to pop off and to clutch up. You need to diffuse their situations. You need to calm them down, because those guys on Clash, once they get heated up, there's just no way to get them off your back, and they're looking deadly here against Zero Zone Spain. And I'm afraid I don't think Zero Zone Spain have the stopping power to put an end to it. So I told you I expected a trio sweep. I was a bit surprised by the strong start from Zero Zone, although I knew that Hudson would be the best way for them to take a set. I didn't expect Clash to like come back from some of those situations. But even then, I did expect Clash to just get the sweep here, deal with this matchup quite easily, and so far they have shown that to us. So it's a matter of, can they close it out now? They only need one more set, and I feel like out of 3 sets potentially coming up, I don't see a world where Zero Zone is winning every single of the 3,
Yeah, I'm not really too sure here. I'm not going to create some Cinderella story here, because it's way too... Maybe if against one of the other teams, possibly, but no, like... Clash are just way too good today, and actually no, I don't know what I'm saying today. They've been really good every day, every time we've witnessed them compete in this tournament, and just competitive Brawl Stars overall. But let's see what Zero Zone can do, if they can at least try and, you could say, breach the gap a little bit somehow, some way. Chaos in that left lane. Pruby still hiding behind that left lane himself. Lene looking to push up very deep here, with Gil still trying to inflict some damage, with now Freddy looking to push up here. They've actually pushed up towards the safe just to inflict a little bit of damage, not even caring about the rest of the players of Zero Zone. But this is also great stuff. You saw at least 3 members pushed back for that one opponent, and that shouldn't have happened. Okay, 1 player, fine. 2 players, questionable. 3, no. All 3 of you did not have to pull back for that one person. You've all basically given up map control. You've given up more damage towards your safe. And now Zero Zone are down by 16% as we head into the final 80 seconds.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a challenge from now on. Amy taking quite a bit of damage, but dealing just as much to Ikeos. He's going to get tagged down to 700. Ikeos has to calm down as he is quite low HP. Okay, they're going to get tagged down. But Ikeos with the gadget. Can he pick up the kill? He certainly will. That's an impressive one for sure. As Clash still have that 16% lead, and Zero Zone have yet to get any damage on the blue save. Nice super from Ikeos to just get an extra 12 or 13%. And that is going to be Clash with so far a bit of a lead. What in general in Heist would not be considered as a massive lead on this map, it can definitely be.
Certainly could do here. And Zero Zone looking to push up and try and regain some of that map control. Nice dive there, but only did 15%, but he will have time to respawn and rejoin the fray with the rest of his group. As Jamie just trying to hold the front line, but not with Gil still trying to inflict so much damage onto him. Does eventually kill him, and Chaos is now on the front line to then push up even further. Lenane's jumping in to inflict even more damage here. This is pretty much said and done. Not even any point-based trading, because they can't even get out their spawn in the first place. to get towards their save. So great stuff from Clash. Again, what we expected, match points for Clash to end this series 3-0.
Yeah, so far this has been looking strong for Clash. Even, you know, some of the game modes where they're not the best, Hot Zone, Heist, they've showed up. Like, we haven't played any of their favorite game modes. Bounty and Brawl is where they usually shine, and none of that so far. Absolutely none of that. So definitely impressed with their level of performance. We'll see if they can keep it up like that. And honestly, once again, you know, if it was earlier in the match, I would still have said, like, okay, here and there, those game modes, they could go the side of Zeros in Spain. Most of those fishy game modes are behind us, and they went the way of Clash. And you know, I can see Zeros in Spain winning a set here or there, but I can't just imagine, you know, Clash dropping 3 in a row here in this match. So I think this is going to be it. I think that momentum wise, we also saw Zero Zone kind of give all they had and lose some games that they certainly shouldn't have, and giving too much of an advantage to AC Milan Clash. I think this is it, Lito. I think that Clash, they're going to the top 4 and going to be knocking out Zero Zone Spain. We'll see. There's still a couple more games and sets to play potentially, but I just can't see Zero Zone Spain really coming back from this situation.
Yeah, there isn't any elements in Zero Zone's gameplay that makes me think, oh, okay, yeah, they could do this, they could do that. There isn't really much. Don't get me wrong, like, you know, I feel like we've both been slaying them a little bit too hard, but, you know, too right we should, don't get me wrong, because look at the scoreline, the stat says it all. But, yeah, it is a real shame. They're a very, very strong team, but, you know, literally compared to Clash, you know, Clash are like the tyrants in this game in comparison to Zero Zone, and they're just pretty much playing with their food right now, as we're going to see if Clash are now going to clean up this series momentarily. And already done a little bit of damage onto the safe, as Gil's going to get taken down very shortly, as Freddy's already taken down one. As I say about Gil, does take down one of the players before he gets cleaned up himself. And yeah, nice early lead from Clash.
Yeah, definitely. They are gonna be happy with that, although there's a bit of damage coming through from Zero Zone. This is definitely an interesting comp as well from Clash. Something you used to see on this map before Colt had his silver bullet and the meta was to open up the map. We'll see how that can work out here, but so far they have an impressive amount of pressure. Bruby goes for the jump, but does end up falling. The trade is there, but Lena is able to get a nice follow-up kill, and it's going to be a 10% damage lead in favor of Clash.
Took out his opponent as well as the safe, even though he's going to respawn pretty much in the same location. At least he managed to delay things a bit whilst he can respawn himself and regroup with the rest of his teammates. Lenane takes down Booby, as Gil and Lenane still looking to push up here on towards that safe. Still though, Zero Zone do have a 1% lead, not really enough to, you know, stop Zero Zone, as already they started inflicting damage onto that safe. But Zero Zone are trying to keep them back, but they're pinned into the corner of their base and they can't even push up to try and rescue their safe by any means necessary. Drop down to 50%, he's going to continue to do a little bit more, not even using themselves as shield, just to try and stop the blow here and there, and just sprinkling down even more damage in. Literally, Gil still just jumping into that left lane like it's nobody's business. Freddy takes down Chaos, Jamie takes down Lenane, and Gil's still just pushing straight up to try and finish up the safe. He doesn't, but look at that though, there's only 9% of his safe. The Zero Zone have to get at least 2 team wipes and inflict that's a huge amount of damage onto the safe. It's just not going to happen. They try and risk it, barely does anything, left on 69%. Gil's pretty much laughing right now, knowing that it is said and done. Zero Zone sadly have been knocked out of the competition. Commiserations to them. They will be in the top 8, but we'll be seeing Clash once again tomorrow in the semi-final.
Yeah, impressive stuff from Clash. Not that we expect any less from their side. They will be our second team going to the semi-finals, meaning that they will be facing Reply Totem. And oddly enough, there's a bit of a history between those guys as well. Very good friends. Both organizations are Italian, for Clash and for Totem. And there is a bit of a history of somehow, even when Clash was arguably the best team in the world, they were still struggling against Totem. Totem has had quite a bit of history of being able to take them down. But, of course, you know, it doesn't make them any less of an underdog, just considering how strong Clash is at the moment. So that's gonna be the first semifinal to be played out tomorrow. We got 2 more quarters to go to see how the second semifinal will be looking like, and still some really big names regarding the teams we'll be seeing in those next matches.
Yeah, I haven't seen the half of it yet. We're going to see the stats for that last set right now. Zero Zone actually had more kills in Clash. Interesting, but even with a huge... That's actually quite surprising, really. Even for the damage, it being 66,000 more compared to Clash. I kind of felt like the stats should be the other way round, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe because they're inflicting more of the damage onto the safe and his actual opponent. So it does make a little bit of sense with the stats line anyway. But yeah, apart from that, though, Clash looked very, very solid. A little bit of a shaky first game, but you know, to be able to adapt and then completely change things up after that one initial game, after they got that momentum swing from the second game, that was literally it for Zero Zone. They didn't have, you know, anywhere to go, any room to breathe in a lot of scenarios, and they had overall only 2 more kills, 13,000 less damage, but sometimes it's just not all about that. But it would have been a lot bigger in terms of damage count and kills if it weren't for that highest gain, I'm sure, for Clash. So Clash, like I said before, we will see them in the semi-final. We will play against Reply Totem in the best of 5 tomorrow. But that means we're already halfway through the day. Still got 2 more quarterfinals left to go. But the next one will be SK Gaming versus Kozaki. So don't go anywhere. We're going to see some highlights and we'll be back in a few minutes. And welcome back to the international finals for Brawl Stars. We are at the Gamestars League Season 1. We've just had 2 quarterfinals already. It's been a very, very quick day so far, and we've still got 2 more quarterfinals to go. We've still got SK Gaming versus Kozaki, and the final one of the day will be Big Clan and XO. I am Lethal, join me is Teddy as always, and now we're going to try and dissect this game and try and ruin our predictions as much as we can, because it's going to be SK versus Kozaki. Kozaki, very long road for them. It's been a real struggle. They've got here eventually, same with a couple of the other teams as well. And we're going to look at some of the stats before we go into anything else and look at the results from the previous matchup. So, only one we did have Na'Vi versus Reply Totem. That was a rematch from Stage 2. And you saw there that Reply Totem did get their revenge. They had a very clean victory compared to Na'Vi. Sadly for Na'Vi, we will not be seeing them again. They didn't play to the best of their ability, but I look forward to seeing what the future holds for them. And we do have AC Milan clash we just witnessed against Zero Zone. Zero Zone had a fairly decent start to begin with, but it all came crashing down as Clash said, no, 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 as we're going to get a little clean sweep for ourselves, and the momentum shifted in their way after the first set. And now we've got SK versus Kozaki, which I'm looking quite forward to seeing, because we know that SK are probably like #1 team in this region. Kozaki, you know, kind of, you could say the up-and-comers, but probably one of the weaker teams out of the 8 in this top 8, which we're looking at today. So Semantic, Jetted and Sky versus Sem, U4O and X. Seen them plenty of times there. You can tell from the amount of games Kozaki have played to make it here. A lot of obstacles they've had to go through in order to make it, but they're going to be very, very happy with the top 8. They're going to be satisfied, and if they get any further, then to them it's just a bonus.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that this was what they were aiming for, or at least maybe even lower, and being there in the first place is already quite an achievement. I think it's a fun fact as well, Kozaki has more trophies than SK, just because Semantic is like sitting comfortably at like 15,000 trophies. And if you are, you know, newer to the competitive scene, guys, and you're thinking like, oh, he must be bad, he's considered by many as the best player in the world. And it just shows that practice is nice, playing is going to make you better, but doing the right things, like the right type of practice, is going to make you much, much better. And he's just scrimming all the time, getting some practice games here and there against other pros instead of just playing ladder. And that is one of the reasons he is just so good. Yeah, Semantic is just built different. So is SK Gaming. Our bans for this matchup, we have Byron on the side of SK. They've been banning Byron quite a bit actually lately, and then we have Bell on Kozaki. Well, Bell is a go-to ban, it makes sense. Byron is definitely interesting. It's a strong brawler, but maybe not as strong as it used to be.
Yeah, we'll have to see what is going to be in SK's hands here. We're going to go through the maps and modes. Will be a bit of gem grab with red herring, quick skip, hot potato, bank shot, and some assembly required. And a lot of people will be watching this thinking, okay, so SK semi-finals, lol. But yeah, you know, you could be right here, because Kozaki, you know, they're a little bit known. I think, like Teddy said earlier, they were probably just hoping for a top 16, top 12 finish. But for them to like see themselves in the top 8, they're going to be really happy. I think they're already satisfied, and anything extra is going to be a bonus. Like taking down potentially like the #1 team in the EU, MENA region would be just absurd, like absolute madness. So we'll see though. We'll see what Kozaki can do here. I do hope for the best, but SK, you know, against a team like this, going to be a real struggle. But let's see what they can do, as already SK do have an early lead, just trying to use their individual ability and the damage counter to try and do as much as possible. As X is trying to push up onto them, and Sem is trying to do a timing attack with X, but they're expecting this here. Even though they've been pincered in, they're getting the first pull as Sky takes down U4O. X will get cleaned up momentarily, and that is almost a team wipe for SK. Just one member, which was Sem, left standing. Sem loves to overextend, loves to try and find an opening, and it looks like the whole team, in terms of how Kozaki are playing, aren't actually, you know, playing scared or passive. They know that they're satisfied with how far they've got, and they might as well play to the best of their ability without any pressure.
Yeah, I think so too. Scarix is able to find a nice kill on X. Actually, it was Semantic, but Scarix does find the follow-up, and that's going to be the countdown already. So far, pretty convincing from SK Gaming. 10 seconds left, and it's just looking like they will pick up this game, although there is a super available on X. Could use that to try to find a kill. Scarix and Jenen taking quite a bit of damage, but they can't close out the kills, and that's going to be SK with the first set quick win, to be honest. Quick win.
Yeah, they're not mucking around, are they, Teddy? You know, it's in clean sweeps all day. Will we see another? I don't know. Don't be surprised, though, as we're going to see how SK are going to do here. They've been looking pretty solid still as well. But yeah, Kozaki, I'm curious. Like, this is the thing you see. When you've got no pressure, I think it's a little bit of worry for SK. But I think they've seen him play plenty of times. I don't think they're worried too much, in all fairness. Like, you know, like I said, they're one of the most consistent teams in Europe. It's hard to bet against them. And if you did, then, you know, you're just going to lose your money straight away. I could tell you that before you even put the money down here. And, you know, we still got big as EXO as well afterwards. So, but they're trying to make it a quick day for us here. You know, they're trying to, you know, give us a chance to enjoy the sunshine before, you know, daylight goes here, Teddy. But yeah, we'll have to see how this story unfolds during the series.
Yeah, you know, it is the match, and we were talking behind the scenes as well. Like, this is kind of the most expected result, or at least one-sided performance of the day. Kozaki have shown us some really solid stuff. Don't get me wrong. They took, I believe, a set against Clash in the first round of the group stage. They have shown us some really decent stuff, that's for sure. Thing is, SK Gaming, they are arguably the best team in the world. And in my opinion, they definitely are. And that's where things start being a bit dangerous for Kozaki. It's going to be a challenge so far. Yeah, they haven't really been able to show us why they could take this one.
Absolutely. Sam is continuing to do his traditional work, pushing up as far as he can to be a real pain in the backside. He did succeed, but SK were like, well, okay, Sam, you push on left side all on your own, mate, and then we'll just push to the right side and take out your other two teammates. That's not a problem. And that just shows, you know, quick thinking, good reactions there from the entire team of SK. I just feel like it's like they've all fused into one being, and they're literally just having such great teamwork across the board with, you know, great DPS. Like, Sam is doing a good job just, you know, just distracting SK and making them pull back, but it's only going to last a certain amount of time, because then they're going to have numbers advantage for like the next 5 to 7 seconds, and then SK, you know, a team like they are just going to push up on them straight away. They're not silly. You know, this is what happens when you grind this hard and be able to see such a strong, stable team with a lot of discipline. Already up 6-4, so still a couple of gems behind. They know that U4O is the one with the 4 gems just pushing back on that left lane, but you can see Kozaki are very heavily separated. As Sem, again, I'm a little bit worried here, because Sem keeps trying to do this overextension and trying to force the players back on SK, but none of them are falling for it. Like, when they see Sem push that left lane and overextend, SK are just like, all right, then we'll just beat your other two teammates down to a pulp 3v2. That doesn't really bother us, and then we'll come back and clean you up later, mate. It's fine. So, still got minute 50. It's definitely not going to go to the timer. Of course, SK are up by 1 gem, but they will need to hold their grounds and hold this map advantage, just depending on the circumstances. With 4 gems required, I do feel like Kozaki do need to push up here, Teddy. 10 seconds left, and it looks like SK will be taking this one.
Yeah, it's looking good for SK. Semantic is just going to be able to stall them a bit longer. Scarix does get pulled. That's going to make quite a difference, because now suddenly, look at that, a countdown for Kozaki. SK with some maybe slightly overconfidence mistakes here, as now they need to take down the Gene for Kozaki. And that's not going to be an easy task. Jen and Fozen, this is going to be game for Kozaki. Oh my god, no, he's able to interrupt the countdown. Oh my. That's
at the end,
a disaster for Kozaki.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I think SK probably thought, okay, let's put our big boy boots on now. Let's at least try and end this if we can. We need to continue having this map control, though, because they will keep delaying this countdown. But this is where they need to stabilize and just chill a little bit. Focus on what they need to do and what needs to prioritize first. Actually, do you know what? Don't forget what I just said, actually, Teddy. They've already taken more down. Pretty much a team wipe if they clean up X, which they have done. Now they can pull back. It should be fine. They've got plenty of gems. 22. Like I've already said it yesterday, we've got more gems required than a jewelry store. They should be fine here. 36 remaining, but not going to happen. And there we have it. SK cleans up the first set on their name. And yeah, a little bit strange towards the end. They only just caught him by the last few seconds, and they knew that they had to make that push. Good push from Kozaki nonetheless, but repeatedly making the same mistakes. You know, Sem with the overextension. I just find it funny that as soon as Sem overextends, thinking he's going to do a clever play, like, you know, some 200 IQ play, SK just push up on the other two. Like, a lot of these teams should be doing that, but instead, you know, when other teams play against Kozaki, when Sem does like find this, you know, inverted quotes opening, all three members or half of them are just like, oh my god, we've got to pull back and stop him from flanking us. It's hilarious because this is what you should be doing. Anyone who wants to take note, if you see one person actually breach, an opening on the map which you didn't have full control of, or maybe a little bit unaware, just play the numbers game on the other two opponents. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, SK just being SK so far. We'll see how long they can keep it up like that, but they're looking pretty convincing, man. Like, it's just SK. They are quite the team, but obviously you're never up for a little bit of a surprise. That did get closer than I expected, but it did go the way of SK ultimately.
It certainly did by 8 kills, and you saw there, I think that was 43,000 more damage. Where we're going to quick skip for a little bit of bounty here, Teddy, and then we do have high straight afterwards with a bit of hot potato. And well, I was going to say we might actually get our first Brawl Ball set, but the way it's going, I'm not really too sure. We know that Kozaki isn't the strongest in the CIS region either. Obviously, you've got some great CIS teams such as Na'Vi, Blood Diamond, Russia, the list goes on here. So even though Kozaki isn't the best, they've definitely shown some promise compared to what how they've performed in the past in other competitions. But yeah, against SK Gaming, to say that they can topple them is, I wouldn't say a laughing matter. Like, they definitely could take a game here and there, but we've not really seen many elements of that. I kind of felt like how that occurred, like the last game, in terms of them actually being able to get one of the kills onto SK and then be able to almost win that second game. Wasn't as a fluke in any way, but you can see that they struggle to try and figure out ways to, get any team wipes against SK, or even trying to establish some kind of dominance on the map. But we'll see what's going to happen in this matchup here to see if Kozaki can, you could say, claw something back here, but already SK have already got that first initial kill and the blue star, and Semantics having absolutely none of that. Is going to pull back into his left lane.
So far, the start that SK were hoping for. Kozaki did pick up 1 kill, but Sam is taking quite a bit of damage. Can't quite find Skyrix. That's the kind of kills that, he should have been able to take. Semantic finds the trade, and the lead just stays in favor of SK so far. And Kozaki, oh my god, Semantic is gonna snipe U4O down as well. He's already at 6 stars. And I love how he removes the walls near the teleporter, so that even if someone teleports, he just has some free open shots. Now they are getting close out in the corner a little bit. Semantic is gonna fall. That is gonna be quite a couple of stars going to Kozaki, but SK still in the lead, and now they have a bit less responsibilities with no extra stars on anyone.
This is looking pretty bad. 45 seconds left. SK still with that 3-star lead, but we'll need a couple of kills like Tennis already mentioned. X holding that right lane, just doing his job with the tick, just trying to keep his opponents at bay. But I say that though, but in all fairness, it's actually Jetson keeping him back. So it means there's a lot of room, for error on that middle and left lane. As Sem's already taken a fair amount of damage. Sky's looking to try and clean him up if he can, and it's inflicted even more damage. One more should do it. As already Semantics looking to try and push up a little bit further. You'd think it's Kozaki should be pushing up here, but it's actually SK still piling on the pressure. And why not? If you've got the advantage, take it. This is what I'm talking about. As U4O and Sem try to push on through, and Kozaki do have the lead here and could take this depending on the last moment. And U4O does take down Jetson, but they would have won even without that last kill. And Kozaki do get the first kill of the second set.
Yeah, that is definitely better, but it's still going to be tough for Kozaki, isn't it? The SK are looking pretty strong. I'm not 100% sure with the Piper pick. Like, I feel like Piper can do pretty well, but it is, in my opinion, certainly a confidence pick. I don't really see SK going for that if it was against, like, a Clash or something along those lines, where they would quickly get overrun and cornered up, which is what ultimately happened here as well for SK Gaming.
Yeah, certainly will indeed. We'll see how SK, I was going to say Clash and SK are going to respond to this set. They should do. I don't see why not. I think that one TP through to the left lane really threw him off ever so slightly, and I think they did the right thing. SK still had the advantage, so they might as well keep on piling the pressure. We've seen some teams when they have that lead on bounty, they do try and hold some passive kind of setup, and there's not really much point if you've got the advantage anyway. Just at least take a couple down and just have the numbers early rather than have to, worry and run back into a corner whilst the countdown's going, because it's just so annoying sometimes, and it's just, it's not really any need for it here. But I'm glad Kozaki did bring this back. I'm not saying that, it's still a big task for them to try and topple SK. Even if they take this set, it's going to be a real tall order here. But look forward to see if Kozaki can take this first set. If they do, but even taking 1 or 2 sets from SK is an upset, let alone anything else, because we know how strong they are. Kozaki, a lot of people would have predicted top 12 or top 16, but they are here in this quarterfinal. And you can see the change from Kozaki. They've actually switched to Immortus. We don't see a tick anymore, but we're going to see what SK can do to deal with these changes.
All right, we'll see how the Gene can fare as well for Skyrex. That is going to be one of the important picks here. I mean, Mortis, I'm not 100% sure. I do still feel like there's a lot of, complicated areas in the map, especially the mid is just so open. The TPs might help, but I don't know, man. I feel like Mortis is a bit of a questionable pick. We'll find out soon enough. He does take a lot of damage early on. U4O taking more damage as well. Sam just barely making it out alive, and he's on the hunt for Jeden, but so far it does seem like Jeden is the one actually on the hunt, as Sam is gonna start healing up. And now things are a bit dangerous for Jeden. His gadget is not going to connect, actually. And now Sam is just running around looking for some value here and there. Sam is going to get pulled. He can't quite find a kill and will get taken out. 5-star lead for SK so far.
Yeah, we've seen Sam play Mortis plenty of times in the past. And now U4O and Sam looking to push that right lane again. Sam is trying to look for revenge after the failed engagement last time round. UFO is going to try and inflict a little bit here and there just to be more of a distraction so Sem can push on in, but he finds one member of Semantic looking to try and get away, but he actually gets taken down there, so Sem didn't really do anything. This surely should be a win for SK. Now up 10 stars to 1. X is the last man left standing. Sem does come back into the fray, but it's too little too late. Again, numbers advantage now for SK. Sem, yeah, there's nothing he can do. 5 seconds left and already a huge lead for SK, and that was a lot better. And that wasn't even to do with comps, that was just pure adaptation and just being patient, ready to try and take down Sem without Mortis.
Yeah, I think that first of all, the come from Kozaki wasn't exactly ideal. But secondly, SK, I think they were kind of pissed that they lost a game there. They just thought like, all right, this is closer than it should be. We should be dominating against teams like Kozaki. Let's just, stop messing around and close this one out 3-0 quickly. No more losses. That's kind of how it feels like, right? And when SK get in that mood, you don't want to be on the receiving end. Let me tell you that much.
Oh, no, definitely not. Yeah, if you play against an angry SK, then yeah, have fun. Like, good job, like, for annoying your opposition. Yeah, like, how dare you win a game in a set against us? And now we're going to completely turn it around now. And yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, that's what I said when Kozaki won that last game. I was like, yeah, but it's still, they could be 2 sets up, but it's still going to be a tall order because you can see him do so much. But that last game was literally night and day. And I think, we're just going to follow the same tradition going into this 3rd set as well. I don't want to be that guy. I hope I'm predicted wrong, of course, but SK are just way too strong. We'll be, I'm not going to make you guys gullible at home and assume that, Kozaki are going to absolutely smash SK. But, never see. Like I said, we've always seen some weird things, but for Clash and SK, they're way too good of a teams to make something like that get out of hands, no matter what the matchup is. But I'm going to quick looky here. Looks like they are going to go for the Gene, Carl, and the Mortis. So we'll see if it's going to make any kind of impact to them. As now SK looking to try and win this 2nd set and try and have a clean series here. But as I say, that U4O does take down Sky, Semantic, and Jetten just hovering around each other in that right lane. Semantic just trying to support Jetten in case he does get pushed by Sem. Sem on that right lane looking to push up with the Mortis. Hasn't found any kind of openings as of yet, especially with the tick on Sino Jet and just constantly pushing him back in that right lane. But how are they going to push this? They've been pulled back all the way towards the back line here, taking down Sem, and X was trying to help out in any way, but just couldn't. SK do have the blue star, but still 1 star behind. But I think it's just literally a matter of time here. They're just delaying the inevitable, and we're going to see how this push is going to occur.
Yeah, so far things have been looking pretty all right, I guess, for Kozaki. The single star lead is definitely better than nothing, and the blue star is on SK, so in case of a one-on-one trade, it could go in favor of SK Gaming, as they are looking to push up. They won that pull, both Genes, and it's going to be X to get pulled now, lead in favor of Kozaki. Sen taking a lot of damage, falls to Jeden. And Skyrix picks up U4O as well. What a disaster for Kozaki. This was once again a chance for them. The set is on the line, no matter what, and it does seem like it's SK Gaming with an 8-star lead that are in the favorable position to take. So a nice dodge from the pull from Skyrix. I mean, it's going to cost Jeden's life, but Skyrix stays alive instead. And would you look at that? SK Gaming was a convincing win here to close out this set.
Yeah, literally dived into 3 of them at once. Yeah, not going to happen. And I think you could see towards the end, Kozaki was just hoping they would push one side. And SK just didn't want to. They were literally like a statue. All 3 members just, you know, deciding as a team with really good comms. Like, you need a lot of small talk being in that position. They were just like, hold, like just like literally just waiting for it. It's kind of like that Braveheart scene, really. And yeah, there you go. Managed to get that last kill. Shouldn't be a problem. Oh, I didn't even see you for go absolutely mad. Look, he's literally dancing around. I don't know what dance maybe he's trying to show there, but you know, maybe he's pretty snazzy on the dance floor. I don't know, but maybe SK witnessed that and gone, right, let's just put U4O down a peg here, because he's sitting around dancing after, you know, a game win, and this is taking the mickey now. And yeah, this is what you get. So for anyone at home watching, if you play against SK and you beat him in one game, don't dance around and prance around, because this is what happens. SK just literally just absolutely make you look like you never played the game before. Absolute madness. But well played from Kozaki. They did try, but yeah, of course it wasn't good enough. 19 kills to 7, was outslayed heavily. Hot Potato will be the next map for some heist. And there's no mucking about here, Teddy. We're going straight in. SK just want to clean this up 3-0. We'll see if Kozaki have any fuel left in the tank. I assume not. But, you know, we may see a U4O dance again if they do take another game, which, you know, I do like to see. He can be quite cheeky, I've noticed. Semantic has taken a lot of damage already in that middle lane and already inflicted some damage onto the safe.
All right, so far, SK in a pretty good position with a bit of more initial damage. Jeden takes care of Sam as well on the left-hand side. Semantic, he's just so pushed up in the middle, just uncontested right now. Skyrix was a great pickup as well, and this should be the team wipe as SK are gonna start getting some more damage towards that red safe.
Certainly does indeed. Even though SK's have dwindled down to 84%, they're the ones with heavy map control here. As Kozaki, all 3 members have been pulled back. Semantic does another 13% with Colette Super. Goes in straight again. He went wrong with the fact that Colette Super gets recovered so quickly. And there we have it already. SK have taken down Kozaki in that first game. Commanding lead and a massive statement here, as now they're already on match point. And you never know, Teddy. I think this could be a 3-0 day. You know, normally we'd sit in stage 1, but, you know, in the quarterfinals and considering some of the matchups, it's just been unbelievable as Kozaki are just on their last breath here.
Yeah, it's not looking too good, is it? Like, they honestly, I think they did play admirably well. They picked up some games here and there, which is already hard enough against SK. I think that taking a set is kind of the next level, and it's quite next level to reach, right? Let alone taking the whole win. So I think this is it, man. I think this is it. I think SK gonna go to the top 4, and that Kozaki they had a nice run, but I don't think they're good enough yet to go further in the Gamestars playoffs.
Yeah, absolute madness. We all expected this, like you said, you know, in terms of how Kozaki are going to do. They're just happy to even make it top 8, let alone 12 or top 16. So, in all fairness, they put up a little bit of a good fight. But, you know, they're knocking on death's door here, Teddy. They're probably scratching. Actually, do you know what? You can see there's no pressure on them. I even said earlier that Kozaki, if they make it like this far, or even if they make it to the semis, you know, that's a bonus to them. Like Uforo, like dancing like that in his room, like after winning one game, that's just shows they know that it's a David versus Goliath matchup. They realise that it's like trying to, you know, there's just no way that they're going to get that much further. They know that as well. It's kind of like how Bojo's Barmy Army were playing in the group stage recently. They knew they weren't going to get any further. They couldn't play their full potential, so they're just having a little bit of a giggle now. And yeah, SK should win this 3-0. If they don't, then I'm not even going to say what I'm going to do because of the fact that they'll probably reverse sweep it on purpose. So this is the third series of the day. This is the third quarterfinal. If you're just joining us, we do have 4, and we do have the last one coming up after this. It will be Big Clan versus EXO, and that should be hopefully a closer affair compared to what we've seen in the previous matchups so far. We did think the first one would be a lot closer, but Totem were like, nah, we're just going to play like we did the other day, so good on them. And then Na'Vi wasn't as clean as they used to be, which is a little bit of a shame. Second one was, as we predicted, Clash beating Zero Zone 3-0, and SK just going to continue on the trends and maybe 3-0ing Kozaki. Like, you know, like I said, Uforo dancing over one game. God knows what he would do if we won a set. I don't think I want to picture it really, but we are going to go and maybe finish this potential set. It is going to be match point for SK, and they're looking just to finish the job here.
Yeah, they certainly are so far. We do have some pretty different comps. So Mr. P coming in, the Barley, U4 on the roughs as well is an interesting decision for the mid. It is going to struggle a bit early game, but if you can get some good buffs out later on, they might be able to take a bit of an advantage. Nevertheless, not going to be an easy matchup for them.
Certainly not indeed. It's still going to be a real struggle. Semantic still has to hold on to that middle lane, but saying that though, Sem has been able to be a little bit more aggressive, does take down Jettin, does have the right lane open for himself. Only Tickles to safe here as Jettin's looking to push back towards that right lane and try and get some kind of control back. But now though, Sky looking at that left lane, knows that X is still there just to pile on the pressure, still playing that support with the Barley, just to inflict a little bit of damage here and there, just to keep him at bay. Barley was a good pick, but we'll have to see if he can at least inflict any more damage onto that save, which he does. So he is in range. He should be okay, but SK are definitely going to respond to this momentarily.
They certainly are, but so far, nice spray down from the Rico on Kozaki on the top right. Sam gonna slow things down just a little bit for SK as they're still looking for some openings down the middle. U4 to actually X to pick up a nice kill there on Semantic. And so far, SK, they're struggling a little bit to find openings.
Yeah, this is a little bit weird. I'm just waiting for Uforo's dance moves really next. You know, this is what I'm looking forward to seeing here if they actually do win this next game. X on 21 HP does get cleaned up. Sky looking to push on through on that left lane. Semantic finds a little opening there to use that Colette super. Does do some extra damage onto Kozaki's safe, but now down by 5%. Kozaki can't just sit on the back foot anymore and have some passive setup. They need to make a push, but not if they keep having a numbers disadvantage, as now 2 members of Kozaki have been taken down. They have a little bit of time left to at least make one final push, but even if they do, they still need to inflict 23% damage and take down SK. I can't see this happening, as now U4O does take down Semantic, but Sky takes down X. Maybe even looking for the trade on U4O. He still actually finishes him up, and Sem is the only one. No, it's not going to happen. Semantic is in a great spot there. Good positioning. Unlucky for Kozaki though. They will be out of the competition. They do place top 8. I'm not going to say commiserations too much. I would say actually congratulations to them, because it's definitely more than what they expected. And the SK, we will see them tomorrow against the winner of EXO and Big Clan in the semi-finals.
Yeah, good job SK Gaming, although this is kind of the expected result, to be completely honest. I think that, you know, this is what everyone just would have predicted out of this match, and it was a better performance than Kozaki probably than most people would have expected. So that's definitely better than nothing. Of course, well, you know, SK Gaming, if they would have lost this match, I think we would have been really, really surprised, and that would have been like upset of the year. So things so far kind of lining up. We did have a bit of an exception with Totem winning against Navi, but it could really have gone either way. So yeah, the question is for our fourth and final quarterfinal. It's a big one as well, right? EXO versus Big. That could really go either way as well. So I'm excited to see who between those two teams is going to be joining SK in the semifinals.
Yeah, I don't know what I would have done if SK won that series. I probably would have just turned the stream off and just let you solo cast, because I don't think my blood pressure would have been able to handle it. I don't think anyone else would have been able to witness such a catastrophe, you could say, just looking at the match stats. Look at that, there were 162,000 damage. That was only 3 sets. That's a huge milestone. Huge margin, doubled their kill count as well. Everything just went right for SK. They're just doing, basically, it wasn't that fact that it was playground work, just playing very standard competitive Brawl Stars. Not really too much to say, not really too much to dissect, because it was just too many problems on the side of Kazaki, which I can't even count on my fingers and toes. So that's it. That's the third quarterfinal done. We've only got one match left of the day. It is going to be Big Clan versus EXO, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes, but first, some highlights from the last series. Welcome back, everyone. It is some more Brawl Stars action once again here at Gamestars League Season 1. We've already had 3 quarterfinals. It's been a very, very quick day, and yeah, it's just one of those things, I'm afraid. But one match which should be a nail-biter, and I hope so, it is going to be Big Clan versus EXO. But before we go into that and even start dissecting our predictions, we're going to have a look at what has occurred earlier on today if you've just joined us. So Na'Vi did lose to Totem 3-0, and we see Clash take down Zero Zone quite comfortably 3-0 as well. And believe it or not, the trend continues. SK also took down Kazaki 3-0, And now we're on to our final quarterfinal, as the 2 semi-finals and the grand final will be played tomorrow. So we've got to find one more team to go into that top 4 against SK Gaming. So Big Clan and EXO is going to be our next focus. And Teddy, this should be an absolute banger to go out on.
Oh yeah, it absolutely should be one of the better matches of the day, and one of the ones that could be the closest. Now, we talked about Big Clan not exactly being the Big Clan we used to know. Sugar leaving the team. It's his last performance with Big Clan. So there's still a bit of tension in the air. I think they can't voice chat together anymore because they can't really stand each other anymore. So that's not really going to be helping their case. It worked out, I think it was yesterday or this week it worked out, right? No, not yesterday, but this week it did work out. But against a team like EXO that is very well coordinated, that has very good team play, I think they might just fall short because of that. So if I had to go for a prediction, I would go for EXO, mostly because of that. Otherwise, the teams are fairly even. It's just that they're not exactly in the same conditions right now, and I think that should be favoring EXO enough to be having a pretty comfortable match. But obviously, we'll have to see in the gameplay. They had a bit of a miracle run through the playoffs so far, Big, so maybe they will be able to just keep going like that in this round as well.
See, I always go on about this, and I do it in every esport. I always say small talk is so important, not just comms, but the very, very minor detail is just so important in a lot of these teams. And, we've gone from that to you just saying they don't even speak to each other. Like, there's literally zero comms. They literally just rely on chemistry, if you can call it chemistry, if they can't stand each other. And so they haven't got any comms, they haven't got any chemistry, so they're purely just going by individual skill and just working together just aimlessly. So, you saying EXO should be the winners, damn right they should be. If Big make it into the top 4 with no comms, that's a joke. Like, that really is a joke. There's no reason at that level that they should not win. If Big win this whole competition, they should probably have a bit of a word with each other. Like, I would love to say, if Big actually won the entire thing, I'd love to ask them if we're all going to go out and, and actually do something to celebrate. But of course, I don't think it matters how far Big get in this competition. I think it's like, no matter what happens, it is done. Sometimes you could be the best team in the world, but if there's any internal struggles, it's just one of those things. It's a business decision, but they still continue on. But I think it's a good thing that Big are continuing on with this tournament as a whole, because some may just split and be a bit immature about it, but at least they're going to continue on. So let's have a look at the bans anyway, going into this matchup between Big and EXO. Looks like it will be the Stu and the Poco, and we have seen a few Poco bans here and there. Is it EXO who banned Poco a lot? I might be mixing them up with someone else, but yeah, it's not the first
I think
time,
they
I'm
do.
sure.
Yeah, I think they do. There's other teams that also go for it, just because it's a bit of the confidence ban. But EXO definitely like that Poco ban, just making things a bit more simple comp-wise. But our maps are going to be Bankshot for Brawl Ball, Central Traffic in Heist, Olive Branch in Siege, and then potentially Land Ahoy and Bounty, and the worst map of all time, Massive Attack for Hot Zone. That is going to be a nightmare for those teams if it comes down to set 5.
Oh, my favourite. I love Massive Attack today. It's my favourite map and now of every mode. But we are going to start with Bankshot. So I do hope this goes to 5 sets. As we've not had any Brawl Ball today, Teddy. None. Because these teams are so selfish, they won't let us go to a set 4 or 5. But finally, we're going to at least get some in some way. And yeah, like you said, you're probably right though. Even though it is a Massive Attack's a horrible map, we probably won't see a set 5 anyway. I would be a little bit surprised. Like, I always see it as though at this level, no comms equals no chance, and it's people don't understand how important it is. But I still find it quite funny that Big actually still came first in their group to make it here. It's this absolutely balmy, about as balmy as Bojo's Barmy's army. That's how balmy it is at the moment. So we're just waiting to see when these two teams are going to play out. They will play out momentarily, but if you guys are still sitting around waiting for this matchup, what are you doing? Register for Season 2. It's just been announced. Registration is open. Make sure you head to brawlstars.gamestars.com. or if I said it too fast for you and you can't remember, there should be a direct link in the chat. I'm sure Nightbot will be spamming it away over the course of the evening. So get yourselves involved. Absolutely no reason why you shouldn't. And if you want to gain even just some online experience, sometimes it can be a great start for your esports competitive career in Brawl Stars. But before we crack on, I'm going to ask for your prediction, Teddy. How do you feel it's going to pan out? You think EXO is going to win, but is there any margin you feel like they're going to win by?
I think trio or 3-1 max. Like, I can see Big Clan taking a game here and there, maybe a set. You know, if they kind of like have some pop-off moments individually. But I think that at this level of play, they can't afford just hoping to pop off individually. I think they need some sort of team play, and I think that it's not going to be present enough to take more than that against EXO. So EXO, probably trio, maybe 3-1. That's pretty much my prediction here. Do you have your own prediction set on this match?
I would say EXO are definitely going to win, but I don't know by how much. I'm assuming it's going to be a 3-1 just due to the fact that Big Clan aren't like a complete walkover like some of the other teams we've seen today in terms of their stature and how good they are. But I still find it weird that they placed first in their group, and even with any comms. So it does show that I think their individual skill is going to carry them to a certain degree, but at some point it's going to be the end of the road. They will hit that blockade and EXO are just going to exploit it. That's just literally how I feel. And I feel like if it's back and forth in certain matchups, like if it's anything like Bounty or anything like that, where it takes a lot more, there's a lot more time in attacks required in order to suffice or try and win some of these matchups, that's where Big are going to fall short a little bit. So I reckon it could be 3-1, but, you know, another 3-0 wouldn't be a surprise. I would have said 3-0, but we've seen so many today, it's kind of taken the mick a little bit. I don't want to, you know, give viewers at home just 4 3-0s in 4 quarterfinals. But today's going to be ridiculous anyway, nonetheless. The winner of this matchup will play against SK Gaming tomorrow in the semi-finals. And we already have the other semi-final, the first one, already ready for us and set for tomorrow. We do have Reply Totem versus Clash. And I think a lot of people are going to be assuming, you know, we're going to see an SK versus Clash. You probably will do. We don't know. We'll see how Totem plays tomorrow. But we're going to see our first set of the day, or sorry, first set of the full quarterfinal. It's been a long day. I don't know what I'm talking about as we go into the first game. And Sugar already takes down YDE, and Sugar just looking to try and recover first before helping the rest of his teammates as Cursed and one of the players, I think it's Yoshi, all on the back foot, just trying to regroup and try and rekindle their romance by making another push.
All right, so far, the man advantage for EXO, as Sugar is going to be falling next, giving a bit more control to Big early on, to EXO early on, sorry, to try to push up a bit more. Nice pull from Lars. That is going to be a nice way to open things up. Lars is going to get pulled again. Actually, he is going to get pulled instead of hitting the pull. And I'm getting distracted by Curse, where we literally only see his hair. You just love it, you know? It's like, really like, yeah, it's pretty extreme. But the pull from Lars to try to open things up. 2-on-1, though Yoshi pushing up is going to get knocked back by Lars. That's enough to get the ball out of the way and defuse the push. But so far, it has been EXO with the better positioning and the more pressure onto Big.
Yeah, his hair just has a mind of its own. Like it's absolute madness, but it's yeah, it's great to see. It's great to see. Yoshi is still looking to push up on that left lane, but taking so much damage. Big have had a very good passive setup, still looking to push the advantages, which Nadine sees straight away. Yoshi gets taken down. Cursed almost got taken down with him, left on 191 HP, but this is the push which can make all the difference. But as I was saying, Nadine's taken way too much damage, so had to pull back and regroup with the rest of the squad. YD still taking a bit of damage here as he's going to push the ball towards into Big's half. Very hard to tell both these teams apart. Nadine takes down YDE. This is the opening they've been looking for the past half a minute. And Curse is actually very damaged. Oh, it almost slipped through there. But luckily for them, Curse and Yoshi were there to stop that. YDE looking to push towards that left lane and trying to inflict some damage around that barricade. But so far, it's been very even.
It definitely has been, but with 5 seconds left, overtime is going to be kicking in. That level 4 surge is going to be a nice asset, but they do lose their Gene that had their super to pass to Nadine. Nadine with a shot, that's going to be Big Clan with the first game secured as the goal goes down. Good stuff from Big, able to hold on to their ground until overtime, where they just had a bit of an advantage with that level 4 surge, and able to pop off with nice pass, nice shot, a nice team play, which is what we were kind of, not sure if we would be seeing enough of. But yeah, a good way to kick things off. Some of those maps are going to be, there's no competitive map in this entire matchup, which is going to be pretty wild. And I'm really curious to see how it goes down.
It's just weird. It's like their team plays good and there's no comms. It's as if they're just relying on it's not chemistry, because of the fact that obviously there is no chemistry in the team anymore. They can't stand each other, but it's just the natural ability of how they've worked against or worked with each other in the past. Like there was a lot of teams back in the day who sometimes do it now. They work on their chemistry and their pushes in sync without comms, and they purposely don't speak in scrims in order to work on that a little bit. But the fact that they've actually just naturally just done that is just absolute madness. And yeah, I still don't believe it. It's so stupid, but it's so funny to see at the same time, because if they make it to the semis, that's a joke. Like that is such a joke. But
yeah, that would be fair enough.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I think a lot of people understand where I'm coming from anyway. The fact that like they are still trying, don't get me wrong, they're doing the absolute best of their ability, and I'm trying to think of the word like in terms of describing how they're feeling at the moment. It's just like there's no emotions, no comms, nothing, but yet they're still working together at a high ability here. So, Big, believe it or not, win this first game. Maybe the maps not being in the competitive pool, like you've already mentioned, Teddy, could sway in their favour slightly. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see, as sort of Nadine just pushing the ball into that left side just to... He's feeling a little bit uncomfortable in this next fight. But if they win it, then at least that way he can get it back out and then make a push. If not, then at least it will delay some time for XO.
Yeah, Yashi pushing up. Oh my god, that still goes in. Absolute madness from Yashi. I think they pissed Yashi off, and that's not something that you can afford to do, because when he's pissed, he's just truly built different. All right, we do have a strong push coming in here from Big Clan, looking to tank through it. Nadine pushing up. Nadine is able to score it out as Big Clan tie things up, and now they're only one goal away from taking the set.
This is ridiculous. As if Yoshi was a bit annoyed, went straight in, and Nadine have just gone, oh, that's all right, I'll just do the same back to you, take the damage, dribble it straight in. Lovely. Yoshi in that left lane. YDE is still waiting for this initial push because he's waiting for Curse to actually regroup. Nadine's taking down Yoshi here, but the teamwork's still there, mate. The teamwork is still looking pretty good for Big, considering they've not got any comms. YDE is backing off in that left lane, but Nadine just having none of it. He's looking to try and extend and take advantage. Doesn't actually get it, but the pull comes in as Yoshi takes down Nadine. And Yoshi still pushing up in that right lane. 2v3, looking to push up before Nadine can regroup, but it's going to be too little too late here.
Yeah, a push from XO coming through. A lot of damage. Lars gets pulled. That's going to open up the map a bit more as well, leaving more opportunities for a push. Sugar is cornered on the left side as well, and he has some nice angles from there, but he needs to be careful because look at the HP on Nadine and Lars. They are able to heal up a little bit. Sugar with some really nice tags from afar. And look at that, Big creating a lot of space for their team to potentially prepare for an overtime. Once again, the surge in overtime could be big. Whitey gonna get pulled, he's gonna go down to Sugar. Sugar is just finding so much value from afar. Been sitting on that 4th level for what seems to be forever. And overtime is about to kick in. No more walls, and it should be Surge pop-off time. He's gonna have such a nice time against the Carl. Range-wise, and just with the super as well. The miss from Lars' pull is gonna be quite costly, as we do have 2 supers available on XO. But so far, a bit of a stalemate in overtime.
Yeah, can't separate both teams, even when they're not talking to each other. 35 seconds left. Kirst is going to be pulling back here. Yoshi takes down Lars as YG is only on 56 HP and stays alive. Nadine knows that they're in big trouble, kicking that ball back into that right corner. Yoshi trying to progress towards it with that movement speed, but still being caught off by Nadine here. Still looking to do excess damage. but Yoshi just overstayed his welcome just a little bit, trying to force the situation. Nadine takes down Yoshi, 10 seconds left. Could see a tied game, but Lars actually takes it down as well. This could be their moment, and Sugar manages to score, and Big, after everything we've said, have taken set number 1. Actually, we did both predict 3-1, so that's like their 1 set, so that should be enough now. But still, though, they did look pretty damn solid.
I mean, I was really confused when Big announced they were splitting off. I mean, there had been some mixed results for like a month, but you know, what is a month in your esports career? It's probably not all that much, and I don't know. I did disagree with their decision. Obviously, I'm not in the team and they can play how they want, but it does seem that since they've been splitting apart, they've been kind of playing well together in Gamestars, despite, you know, playing with some handicaps by not being in voice chat and not necessarily wanting to play together in the first place. It's interesting for sure, and Big. It's enough for them to take here the first set against EXO. That's a nice start for them momentum-wise. It's a nice start on the scoreboard as well. As, you know, even stat-wise, they were getting more kills, they got more goals, they got more damage as well. So this is quite big for them. It genuinely is.
There we have it. Set result there. The stats there, Lion and Weep. 4 more kills and a fair amount of damage to boot. Central Traffic is going to be the next map on Heist, and I think we're all learning something here today, Teddy. Like, and I think everyone in chat's learning as well. It's the fact that if you want to be as good as Big or be a really good team, one of the best in the EU, just don't talk to each other. Simple. Just mute each other, and then this is the kind of performances you get today. Oh, dearie me, this is absolute madness. Imagine if they won the tournament. Teddy, imagine if they actually go through and win the whole thing. Not saying they will, because, you know, SK Gaming or Clash, they should take Big down eventually. There's so many disadvantages of having no comms and too many winners' opportunity for them to make something happen. But imagine if they did, that would just be that would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be quite crazy. I mean, the format is not too bad for Big to make that happen as well, right? Like, the maps are in this matchup not competitive. There's also only 1 ban per team, which most of the top teams, they have gotten really used to 2 bans per team. So all those factors will be making things a bit easier for Big, but EXO are still the favorites, and they need to catch up and wake up from that situation, because otherwise, you know, another game or 2 going to Big Clan, and suddenly it could be getting towards match point, and that's things getting out of hand. As EXO, they are the favorites in this one. They should be able to take this one home, but so far they have been a bit underwhelming for what we expect from EXO.
Maybe they knew Big situation and then maybe overestimated them a little bit. Oh, sorry, not overestimating them, underestimating them ever so slightly. You know, that's also a possibility there. But yeah, it's just really strange. It's just their teamwork is natural. Not only has it made any kind of difference, but they do have that natural teamwork, which is helping them through all these games. Like, we saw them win their group the other day without comms, and now they're having a great start in this quarterfinal. Could place top 4 with no comms, nothing. Like, literally just pure silence. It's just, yeah, you couldn't make it up if you're trying it, Teddy. 1-0 now in favour of Big. We are going to go to set 2, game number 1. Yoshi already pushing up with that Amber and takes down Sugar. Yoshi also takes down Lars and inflicting a huge amount of damage onto that save, down to 58%. And they're going to be kicking themselves a little bit. Yoshi was only on, I think, 122 HP by the time he pushed all the way down from that left lane. Sugar does take down Wan't as well. Lars inflicting more damage onto Yoshi, just trying to push him back here. But I do like the plays from Yoshi. Just, you know, a lot of overextension, which have made the right plays, and some good quick thinking here. Finally, Big actually get the entire team wipe onto EXO and now have map advantage.
Yeah, this is a decent start from EXO with a lot more damage. Curse going for the dash, gets a nice shots off onto Nadine. He's gonna get pinched by Lars. That should be the kill, and indeed Nadine takes him down, survives with 400 HP, but survives nevertheless. Yoshi is gonna fall to a nice pinch between Sugar and Lars, and Curse is gonna be in the same situation as well. YD is gonna be next up as Nadine snipes him out of existence, and we should be able to see some more damage going the way of Big Clan, as they are in a good position to just hold on to that mid control.
Yeah, I think all the members of Big wasn't on the same page. This is where it can be a little bit of a disadvantage. Sugar wanted to push up onto the safe, but Lars and Nadine, either they didn't want to because of the respawn cycle from EXO, or they just couldn't in like at all, full stop, or they just went on the same page and just didn't push together. This is where comms is really going to affect them. But saying that though, EXO's safe has been damaged a little bit more. There's only a 9% deficit between both teams. 30 seconds left. Yoshi looking to push down that left lane, waiting for Sugar to push on up. Nadine takes down YDE. Has pushed back Lars, hasn't finished him yet, but saying that, finally Yoshi does take him down and is inflicting a fair amount here, Teddy, and actually doing a little bit onto Sugar, but Sugar was already on respawn immunity, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. But they've got 15% to find if they can, looking to try and push on up. Lars does take down YDE, but still Yoshi just trying to keep him back with that Amber, but it's not going to be enough as Big lose their first game of the series by 12%, and lucky Yoshi was there with the Amber just to inflict a huge amount of damage in that middle choke point.
Yeah, that was pretty close, to be honest. 3 more seconds and that game would have gone the way of Big, maybe even less. Would have been enough. They just needed to get like 1 shot each and they would have taken the win. So that was definitely very, very close. But it's going to be EXO to take the first game of Heist, and therefore actually their first game in general, right? Because they lost 2-0 in Brawl. So far, better from EXO. Still not like exactly convincing considering, you know, the situation Big Clan is in. So I'm still curious to see if they will close this one out as comfortable, like more comfortably, because Big Clan they've shown us some pretty decent stuff in Brawl. Even here it was very close, one fight going differently, and it would be the same lead but in favor of Big.
Yeah, it was just one moment Big were just not on the same page. Like you could see Sugar, like when they had pretty much, you know, the map possession pretty much in their name. You saw Sugar in that left lane wanted to push up. Lars wanted to, but he wasn't too sure. I think Lars didn't want to give up the map control and to do damage onto the safe, but Sugar wanted to push up on the safe to do damage and just give up map control, because I kind of feel like Sugar probably thought Nadine wouldn't have grouped up in time. But this is what I'm talking about. If they were able to communicate, they could have told each other that, and Sugar could have gone, oh, okay, well, I'll just wait back with you guys and then just hold this side. Or maybe, you know, Sugar could have told Lars and Nadine, let's just go for it now. Let's give up map possession. Let's do some damage onto the safe, and then we can talk about what we can do in the next 20 seconds. But they can't do that, can they? So that's, you know, where the disadvantages are going to come into play here, which is a little bit of a shame. But that's literally what was in my mind. I was just thinking to myself, Sugar, just unmute yourself and just tell him to push up right now. But yeah, it's not going to happen. But still, though, the percentage wasn't that big, was it? 10, 12%, 13% difference in comparison?
Yeah, like,
so
yeah,
not a huge 15, deficit. Yeah, not a huge
no,
deficit.
it wasn't that big. It wasn't that big of a difference. Yeah, it was really close. Like, once again, 1, 2, 3 more seconds, and they would have had enough time to, you know, catch up damage-wise, because no one was contesting. Like, they got the team wipe. They just couldn't get any shots down on that safe in the end. So, yeah, it was a really, really close one. It did go for EXO, but it did feel like Big were not far from catching up and potentially stealing that one away. Maybe if they, you know, have a similar approach, but a bit faster to get to it, they can actually win this one. We have the mirror matchup M's mid, and that's going to be it for the mirror matchup, as we have a Carl versus Bell on the right-hand side. Left side, it's going to be Amber versus Spike. And look at a nice dash from Curse. Nadine might be able to take him down. No, he's going to fall, but Lars is there with the trade. However, that means that YDE has quite a bit of control in the center and is able to get 14% damage on that blue save.
Yoshi's just been a pain in the backside here, just holding that left lane so well with the Amber, just making sure Sugar can't push up by any means necessary. Tickled him a little bit with a little bit of damage, but Sugar's just going to recover here. He's not helping his other 2 teammates so much. He's just worried about the push from that left lane. So he's just holding his ground here. He knows that he can support Lars and Nadine if he has to, but just being a little bit more cautious just in case. But you saw there, Yoshi was waiting for that moment. Does take down one and almost took down Lars with him here. Almost won that 1v2 engagement. YDE just push up on the middle, and Cursed looks to push up Nadine on that right lane. As Nadine's actually after blood here, wants to try and take him down. But it's actually done a lot of damage to YDE as well. As now that means the middle lane's open, but Cursed is still on their side doing damage onto the safe. And still haven't taken him down yet. Nadine actually missed the shot, but Lars does take down Cursed eventually. And they have regrouped. They do have map possession. Yoshi's still looking to push that left lane, but he's taking too much damage here. This is their opportunity to push onto the safe if they want to.
Yeah, this could be big for Big Clan. It wasn't even a pun I prepared. It just came like that, not on purpose.
Yeah.
YD, I promise. I said it. I was like, this is gonna be like so like stereotypical.
I know you mean. I know you mean.
He is gonna fall. And EXO, they have a pretty decent lead, but Big have a chance of pushing up here and finding some more value. As Cursed takes quite a bit of damage, it ultimately falls, but Lars is down to 1000 HP. Yoshi taking some damage on the left-hand side. And Big Clan in the last 15 seconds will need to clutch up, as Yoshi is going for the wide flank. Nadine burns down to his death, and this should be GG's for EXO in this set, as they will be tying things up, pushing things to go at least all the way to set 4, as they take a pretty solid win in Heist against Big Clan. Much better from EXO. Not exactly as good as I would expect EXO to be, but I mean, you know, you got to take what you get, because it's better than losing the set as they did in Brawl Ball.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, at least they're not getting mad about it. Like, if I was losing to a team and weren't communicating, I'll probably be going absolutely spare. But no, they've recovered nicely. It was a lot more convincing. I still feel like Big actually won a lot of the game-changing engagements, but didn't really push on with the advantage. Like, there's a few times where they were just, I don't know if they were just too scared to push the safe a little bit more aggressively after some of those game-changing engagements when they won, you know, the middle in that right lane, or they were just waiting for them on the respawn, for the respawn cycle to happen and then win another team fight. I'm not really too sure. Or maybe they were just worried about giving up map control overall to then successfully do some damage onto the safe. I'm not too sure. It was a little bit weird, but yeah, I thought so. 29 kills to the 14 of XL. I did feel like a Big did outslay by EXO. I knew it was by a certain amount, but I didn't think it was by this margin. How strange. And even look at that though, like 84,000 more damage. That's almost double EXO's damage, and they couldn't do anything with it. That's actually worrying for. Do you know what? I'm still very worried for EXO, because if Big keep slaying like that and keep damaging their opponents like that with that much map possession, I would be really worried, because that shows really bad signs, and EXO need to try and step up their game in, you know, a lot of different departments here. But we are going to go to Olive Branch for a bit of siege to see if EXO will continue how strong they've been considering that set number 2, or if Big can come back here and regain the series lead.
Well, so far it's going to be EXO with enough bolts to secure that first siege bomb. Big will be having a spare or two, but that's about all that EXO is willing to give them, as that siege bot is heading south, and so far EXO was a single bolt lead. And actually EXO committed quite a bit to the push here. They want to get as much damage as they can, and they will certainly do that. 53% damage dealt. Nice wall as well. That's going to force 2 players on the left lane to not waste too much time, and they don't even get the bolts. That is a bit of a disaster scenario, as the wall gets placed on the left side. Oh my god, that's absolutely ridiculous. What a nice wall from Yoshi, and there's a bolt spawning on their side, and Big Clan are able to find more control, but EXO, they're gonna get this siege bot, and if they can find just, you know, a little bit of value, they should be fine. They already got 53% of the level 2 bot.
Yeah, Yoshi's just been playing really solid in every set so far. First set was okay, but the second one he really stood out in that left lane in the last set. This set does continue to do work. YDE takes down Larza, and that's going to be it already, Teddy. The game does go to EXO, already won the first one, and that was very convincing from what we've seen compared to the previous sets so far in the series.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna take the lead actually for the first time in this entire match, as it had been Big Clan in the lead so far. They tied things up. The game after EXO, they take back the lead. That's impressive, that's for sure. Very well played. Obviously, we've talked about some of the limitations of Big Clan, but it hasn't stopped them from taking down some pretty solid teams, and it hasn't stopped them from taking the first set against EXO either. I do think that game modes like Siege that are a lot more coordinated, where you need to think more and strategize more as a team, play as a unit. That's going to be a huge advantage for EXO. Just the fact that they have voice comms and good ones as well. Plus a lot of synergy and trust in your teammates as well is just something really important that EXO are going to be outshining Big Clan at. And I think they can just keep going like that. It's the kind of match where even in the first place, EXO should be the favorite. With all the conditions you're applying as well, EXO should be more than the favorite. But so far in scores, it doesn't look that way just yet. But it does seem like it's going more and more in that direction.
And the problem is, if it was a narrow map, it's fair enough because you can just, rely on your awareness and teamwork of your teammates. But because this map is so wide in comparison to some of the others, they can't, physically see everything which is going on. So that's going to be even more of a struggle for them. And that's why their teamwork has actually dropped quite considerably here. As now YDE takes down one, Yoshi takes down Sugar, and this is going to be an early bolt lead. Cursed kind of BMing a little bit behind that left lane with the level 3 siege bot, just trying to get Big to be mad as possible. And now the bot does go down south. We're going to see how much they can delay this from taking too much damage here, as it's not taking a huge amount. Actually, fair enough, 63% is actually a fair amount, doing 37% on that first initial bot. So good play from EXO, trying to continue the trend and do a replica of that first game, as Lars is going to try and push in. Lars does get the better of YDE in that engagement. Cursed pushing up on Sugar, which he does manage to do. Looking to try and recover, but Nadine is just on his own trying to cover that middle lane, just trying to hold it as much as he can, but not for much longer. He's taking a huge amount of damage. Sugar, though, is going to try and support him. Lars does take down YDE again. Great stuff from him, but it's not going to stop the fact, Teddy, that a level 7 siege bot is coming to Big's way.
Yeah, they are defending really well so far, finding a lot of damage on the bot, but EXO, they're only 2 bolts behind. They get to keep some more control. I have a Sprite roll ready as well. I'm going to place it on the right hand side and just remove some of the choke points. Lars in as well in the process. And EXO are going to tie things up. Bolt-wise, Sugar was an important kill, which is going to give him the bolt as well. And look at that, Whitey does win against Lars. It is going to be a close goal, as there's a bit more control in favor of EXO right now. They have more bolts as well. That should be the third and final siege bot. Every siege bot this game going to EXO, and therefore the win in this game. And set as well, actually. So 2-1 in sets coming up for XOFA. Now suddenly they actually have a very tangible lead and the possibility to close things out in this next set.
Yeah, certainly have done indeed. This is a good way to close this set out. Very convincing in both games. Big, I still feel like with the width of the map compared to the other maps, it's harder to see each other if you're not going to call out anything, and that's where teamwork is just going to drop dramatically. With some of the narrow maps, maybe on Brawl Bounty, then it could be fine, but on a map like that, there's no way at all in the slightest. You could clearly see it as well, just from the fact that with their positioning, they were way too spread out. They couldn't support each other unless it was on spawn, and apart from that, that was literally Bennett. Not really too much to say here. And Kirst did a great job with that Sprout as well on a number of occasions. Yeah, sure, the second bot didn't go too well in that second game, but it didn't matter. They grabbed every bolt. They, closed out every bolt deficit the way they could, and map possession was just in their favor to win the majority of that set. So, not really too much to dissect. It was just one big disadvantage, just created lots of little ones here and there, and now Big are going to have to try and claw back 2 more sets. It's going to be very difficult, but EXO are just looking way too strong.
Yeah, it's looking tough on Big Clan here. Very convincing set in favor of EXO. Not much of a chance for Big Clan. They didn't get a single bot, right? We had 5 bots, I think, total. All 5 going to EXO. Yeah. That's when it starts being a bit dangerous, right? Like, you just didn't have any chances to win. Like, it's not even like, you got unlucky on the final bot or something. No, it's just you didn't stand a chance. You had no opportunities whatsoever to deal damage. And that's just too strong from EXO, and Sure, Siege is going to be probably the toughest game mode for Big Clan because it does rely so much on teamwork, but I wouldn't be too positive about the rest either. I think Brawl was just a bit of an outlier, to be completely honest with you.
And it's crazy to think as well, XO actually got massively outslayed on that heist game in set number 2, and heavily, like I think it was almost double in terms of damage, and yet they couldn't do the objective. But now Big were the ones who got outslayed and couldn't do any objectives, so now it's both. I'm happy for XO, the fact that they actually fixed their killing problems and been able to slay them outright in comparison. I still feel like it was because of the type of map they had to play on. It's just relies a lot more on synergy and teamwork, and without comms it's just not going to work at all. That's why the kill feed and the damage dropped dramatically for Big. And Land Ahoy, this is another, no, not just the map but just the mode itself with bounty. You need to plan a few steps ahead with your timing attacks, and if you're especially on the back foot, and Big haven't got that. They're just gonna have to assume that you're going to push up if you're going to be on the front line and vice versa. So I'm going to be interested to see how this pans out, but I wouldn't be surprised if this does end in a 3-1 victory for XO, considering the circumstances. So we'll find out now, as it's almost a mirror matchup. It's just we've got a Carl for XO and a Piper for Big, so we'll see what we can do from here.
All right, so far XO just have a bit more control, should be able to get that blue star, and the missed shot from Nadine also means he can't go for the homemade recipe and close out the kill, which is quite significant because that would have actually been enough to give the lead to Big. And now it's gonna be Big that need to at some point engage because they are behind. Yoshi's gonna get tagged, but Nadine is not able to get the follow-up shot just yet, so he should be able to heal up and stay alive. Oh, Nadine gets surprised. Look at that. YD knows that's the moment to engage, and he does get traded out, but that's just gonna keep the 1-star lead in favor of XO.
Okay, so XO with this lead, only by 1 star. We'll see how Big can respond to this. Yoshi and Cursed on that right lane still. We can see what they can do, but also just keeping an eye on Sugar to see if he does push up. As Nadine is still in that middle lane, may work together with Lars here to push up on this left side, but it's been a real struggle boat here. It's 30 seconds left remaining. Nadine taking a fair amount of damage. They can't push as of yet. They're very well spread out, so comms is going to be massive here if they were actually able to, rectify some of these mistakes, but they can't at the moment. Nadine just being patient, but he's actually going to get taken down. He was hoping to push up very quickly off the next attack, but instead a few more shots from Yoshi just made such a huge difference as YDE does take down Lars, and surely that's going to be it here, Teddy.
Look at that.
That's going to be the first game for set 4. Oh no,
Poor Sugar.
There was nowhere for him to go, but it's all done, man. It's all done. The damage has been done. 11-5 in favour of XO, and now that's going to be well, next game's going to be match point here, Teddy.
Yeah, match point on the line in favor of XO. 1 game away from the semifinals, potentially joining up SK over there in the top 4. Yeah, Big Clan, I'm sorry, but those game modes that are a lot more how can I say it, team play based, it's gonna be too much of a struggle for them. I don't think they can do it without communicating and being on the same page and being prepared as well. So yeah, therefore I just think it's that's gonna be it, man. Like, I've been saying it quite a couple of times, but we've had a lot of one-sided matches today. Actually, a lot of them. This is one of the less one-sided matches, and yet it is XO that is pretty much dominating through this match, despite what happened in set 1. It's just so hard to clutch up for Big Clan in game modes that aren't really clutchable like that. And Bounty is, but it's still a game mode where a lot of teamwork is required, and it just doesn't seem to be really happening for them.
Yeah, I don't know what to say really. It's like I mentioned earlier, like there's going to be the odd map or the odd, not game mode, but it's going to be the odd map, and it's going to be the odd situations where Big are just going to fall flat completely. So like I said earlier, if you get a map which is not knowing it's too wide and need to communicate to decide if you're going to flank certain lanes, it's not going to work. If you're going to play Bounty, You need to prep for timing attacks. If you're on the back foot and you haven't got a star lead, what a surprise. It happened again, but didn't know when to push up. And now that it's going to be Bounty as set number 4, it's going to be looking terrible. If Big do somehow come back in this set, I'll be gobsmacked because it's not easy at all. As Kirst has taken down Sugar, with Nadine coming behind with the Mortis, but Kirst also took him down. Good double from Kirst, as now it's going to be a 3v1, but doesn't matter too much as Lars has stayed alive. Nadine has regrouped with Lars, and Sugar is still on the back foot in that middle lane. He should be the one trying to apply the pressure, but he can't. He's literally falling flat for him. Nadine's still looking to be a bit more aggressive, but they're just completely out of sync here. One's going too aggressive, one's being too passive from the attacks of Kirst. It's just looking really bad to him, and Nadine's just going straight in. It's not going to work. He may be able to do some damage, but even a trade at best doesn't even get the trade as he gets cleaned up by Yoshi. Yoshi has been pretty OP in this series.
Yeah, he certainly has been. 5-star lead right now in favor of EXO, and things are looking complicated for Big Clan. It's gonna be a real challenge for them to come back into this game, into this match, as they haven't won a game in a hot minute. Nadine pushing up is able to find Yoshi. That is gonna close the gap just a little bit. And I think the Mortis pick is a smart one in this scenario, because, you know, 2 throwers and a Mr. P, he can absolutely vibe. But nevertheless, he's not exactly having the easiest time either. So 20 seconds left now. This is gonna be the chance as Big Clan. They just need to swoop in and make something happen. Nadine is able to find quite a bit, but oh, the tick hand from Kirst is able to take him down, and he just gets out ticked as Kirst is on 5 stars. Big star difference at this point. Nadine getting melted down, picks up the 1 kill, but it's not gonna be enough, and that means that EXO-FA, they take down Big Clan and secure their spot in the semifinals. This is gonna be the end of the journey for Big Clan. They had some miracle games, a miracle run, to be honest, through this season, but they will have to settle with top 8 in this first season as EXO-FA. They move on to the semis and reach top 4.
I love that, getting out ticked. Imagine, but you know, we said it in the pre-show as well. Certain maps or certain modes is definitely going to be heavily unfavored, and that's literally what we saw throughout that entire course of the game. You know, this is what happens, you see. But commiserations to Big, I don't think they were really expecting a lot here. It's like I said earlier, and I'm sure plenty of people thinking the same thing. If they get top 4 without comms, that is just absolute madness. I wouldn't say a joke, but just ridiculous to say the least. But they're not going to be able to. EXO do manage to stop that push towards the top 4, and EXO will be seeing them in the semi-finals against SK Gaming tomorrow, along with Reply Totem and Clash playing against each other in the other semi-final. Looking at the set result though, twice the kills, not twice the damage, only about 13,000 more damage, so not really a huge amount to talk about. Just a lot of patience, good teamwork, and just being able to you know, grab them at the chance when they had numbers advantage. So just good stuff from EXO all around, and we will be seeing them again tomorrow.
Yeah, more EXO action to be expected as they will be facing off against SK tomorrow, joining them in the semifinals. Yeah, so far, I think most of the day went as expected. Obviously, the biggest upset, if it is one, was Reply Totem winning against Totem. But guys, we got an interview. We've seen him quite a couple of times already this season. It's gonna be Kirst joining us up to answer our questions.
Yep.
Hello, Kirst. Congratulations. Hey. You are going to be in the semi-final alongside SK Gaming, Reply Totem, and Clash. How do you feel? Because, you know, set 1, a little bit of a struggle, but it seemed like you managed to claw back in those other 3 sets.
Yeah, I mean the first, it's a map, as always, it's a map we don't really play too much, so we don't really know what comps or how to play out. But I feel like we can play better. I feel like we were running the Brawl games even though we lost the ball. But I mean, they can have us as long as we take the 3 next. That's just fair. So yeah.
That's fair enough. I'm sure Teddy's got another one for you.
Yeah, well, obviously, you know, last time around, we talked about SK and Clash being like the tougher opponents for you guys to play against. SK is going to be next, I believe, for you guys in the semifinals. How do you feel getting into this matchup? What is the like? How can you guys beat them? Because from an external perspective, like they kind of look unbeatable at the moment. Like they do lose a couple of matches here and there, but what makes the difference? I think how can you approach such a match?
I mean, considering the format, I think it's fair to say both teams are not putting like. Obviously, we want to win, but it's not like we scrim these maps on the daily. So I think the way we beat SK tomorrow is by surprise. It's like they don't know what we go, we don't know what they go. But I'm just confident in our picks and our skill to pull it off. So yeah, that's how we beat them tomorrow.
Right, and final question from me to you, Kirst. Obviously, you know about the problems Big are having. Do you feel like you may have underestimated them just a little bit coming into the series, or was it just the fact that Big still played well considering their circumstances today?
I mean, regardless of like internal problems or whatnot, like they're still all three very talented players, so it's by no means a walkover by us. Like we need to take it serious and we need to give them the respect they deserve, and I think they put up a great fight because even though we ended up 3-1 in sets, I feel like there's a lot of close games, so props to them for putting up a good fight.
Yeah, they certainly did indeed. Again, Kirst, congratulations. You've made it into the top 4. We'll see you in the semi-final against SK Gaming tomorrow. And good luck with everything that goes with that.
Thanks.
He's a good lad, isn't he? He's a good lad, means well. And, you know, I was hoping to try and get him to joke around the underestimation, but he's like, nope. I know they're good players. I'm gonna smash them as hard as I can. And yeah, they did. You know, set one was a bit dodgy, but you know they recovered really well with their adaptation and their teamwork in the end. But you know, that's it. That's us done for the day. These are the 4 matches which occurred throughout the course of the day. We saw Na'Vi lose to Reply Totem as Totem got their revenge. Clash made quick work of Zero Zone as SK also made quick work of Kazaki. And Big delayed things a little bit, but in the end, it was delaying the inevitable, as you saw there with Kirst. EXO did take down Big 3-1. But if you only joined us, no, don't worry about it. We've still got more games tomorrow. It is the final day. We've got Totem versus Clash and SK Gaming versus EXO. And that's pretty much us done here for today. We've still got one last day to go for the 2 semis and the grand final. And Teddy, any final words before we shoot off?
Well, as you said, one more day to go, and that would be putting an end to a 5 or 6 week season. That is a long time, a long build-up that is all gonna be determined tomorrow to see who is gonna be the champion of the first season of Gamestars. Season 2 is already announced, so you guys can register for that on the Gamestars website. The link is very often in the chat, probably in the description as well on YouTube, so make sure you guys check it out. If you feel like, you know, participating with your teammates, we go through national qualifiers, so you actually stand a pretty decent chance at moving up and being on the stream, having us cast your matches, and you know, who knows what sort of results you guys can achieve. So make sure you take your chance, shoot your shot, as you could be maybe one of the teams we see next season going all the way until the finals.
That's right. Me and Ted have gone through some weird phases over the last 6 weeks, and you know, we want to see more of it. You know, we can't get enough of it. But Teddy's absolutely right. Make sure you register for season 2, and that's us done for. Thank you for Teddy as always for being by my side and letting me pick his brains when I so desperately need it. And of course, not only that, thank you to production and you guys at home for watching, and we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow for the 2 semis and the grand final.